Hey everybody, hi, it is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. Hey Origami Shuriken, how are you? It is, Thursday, and I am back to more or less-ish my regular time, which is normally 6 p.m. Eastern on a Thursday, although it is 6:39 on an Eastern right now, but why am I got 5 hours of sleep, woke up at 2 a.m., but damn if not. Yeah, why are you here, Atomica? You should get more sleep. Hey, Scabinak. For one reason and one reason only, I do have a lot going on right now, Scabinak. Atomica, can I guess what it is? Is the reason donuts. Is the reason donuts. This is, I really feel like what I need to know. You know? 0 out of 40. Oh, but like, you know what? I'm not even gonna say anything. Hey, AnarchDubby. Hey, everybody. So, I want to chat with you about some stuff. Not really, but right. So normally, if you all don't know, I normally stream at 6 p.m. on Thursdays. But I have been streaming at 10 p.m. on Thursdays because I was in a state of affairs. But that ended last week. So this week, I'm back to my regular 6 p.m. slot, so that, and what we used to do. Oh, you just got done with your dinner after a Zoom chat? What did you have for dinner? What did you have for dinner? I feel like this is important information that I need to know. Also, I didn't have dinner. What have I eaten today? I had yogurt for breakfast. I had beans and rice for lunch. That's 2 meals. So I'm just gonna have something exciting after stream today. You know what? Yeah, no, I ate. I didn't have anything for dinner yet, but I'm gonna have dinner after stream because the stream ends at like, 9:30ish, and then I'll have dinner and it'll be delicious. Maybe. Oh, you made a casserole. Or as we call it up here in the Midwest, hot dish. Thanks, Scabinak. I did. I fed myself twice already. So what kind of casserole, Origami Shuriken? If I were not moving really soon, in 12 days, by the way, so really basically 11 days, because 12 days, and I haven't contacted moving people yet. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. Tomorrow I will do that. I will contact the pods and the Penske, and I will call them all tomorrow, and I will find out if they have movers that can help me move my furniture. This is what I'm gonna try to, and I'll do that tomorrow. And if I do that tomorrow, it's more than a week before the move date. And if I can do that, that would be great. You're moving until you can't possibly still be working. Well, I mean, academic stuff never ends, right? Like I just had to deal with, finance stuff yesterday is what I was doing, calling departments. I have to go to my office. I've got stuff. That's it. You had a Korean bulgogi sandwich for dinner? I want a Korean bulgogi sandwich. Why can't I have that? I want that. Trooper, they really need to know what's going on or they won't know where to be. Oh, the name game. The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bo out of B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. And Bar Garwin, and Bar Garwin, and Bar Garwin, Boom Bar Garwin, Banana Fana Foot from Bar Garwin, Fee Fi Mum Bar Garwin, and Bar Garwin. And Bar Garwin's a hard name, but I got it. Thank you for that 14th month of subs. That's amazing. Wait. I'm missing all the comments, and I need to know what they are because I am sure they are amazing. Hold on. I'm pretty pissed. Internet Archive of Games.
Name game.
Ooh, the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fana, info. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Skexy, 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 Bobexy, Banana, Fana, Fofexy, Fee, Fi, Momexy. Skexy. By the way, I'm just turning down the volume on my headset because I don't need the Wandersong music when I'm trying to sing the name game. Thank you for the resub, Skexy. It was like probably like your 18,000. It was like lots of. Oh, Baron Von Blast. That was a gift sub. Thank you, Baron Von Blast, for that gift sub. That is awesome. Thank you. What's going on? Hey, everybody, welcome in. I'm just trying to ooh, subs. All right, what'd I say? Games are impossible to get in 2020. Normal means and impossible to run on modern systems. Oh, you know, NRW. I also have thoughts on video games and emulators. I have thoughts about this that I want to share, so don't let me forget. Emulators. I was going to make spaghetti, but I couldn't open the tomato sauce because my can opener was borked. Ooh, I hate that. So I made macaroni and threw in the meat and with some cream of mushroom soup and some cheese, popped it in the oven. Okay, Origami Shuriken, I'm going to tell you about my mom's recipe. William Orange. Okay. So I'm all caught up. Hey, everybody. Did the copyright threat change your alerts to just yes, Embar Garwan? That's exactly right. Because of the copyright stuff where they're going through clips, and if they, like, people will get their account suspended. I did not want my account suspended, so I have, changed all of that. You know what I need to do, though? Hold on. I need to change this to this. Here we go. Let me okay it, and then let's transition that, and then there we go. I'm putting the goal to 1,500 for something awesome because I feel like our last goal was 750. I feel like it should be 1,500. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to get my account sort of destroyed because I have the name game on there. So this is my RIAA don't kill me alert mode. So says Atomika. Not going to save this as a cheat because I actually want to have some time to ask GURPS questions. But GURPS questions, ask the questions. So remember how I was talking about weapon breakage last time? I think I found my balance and wanted to get your opinion. Ask away. And while you're asking away, I wanted to say two things, emulators and casserole. So casserole's easier. Origami Shuriken and anybody else who cares. So my mom's tuna casserole involved, right, noodles, usually little shell pasta, tuna casserole, cream of mushroom soup, peas and carrots, can of peas and carrots, and then, besides a lot of cheddar cheese, because that is delicious, Italian seasoning. So getting Italian seasoning in there, and then on top, getting Italian breadcrumbs on top, and that makes it like delish, savory in a really good way. So I recommend in one's tuna casserole putting in some Italian seasoning. This is my mom's secret recipe, Italian seasoning in your tuna casserole, and I gift that to you all. That's what I gift. That is what I gift. You should also add, ooh, yeah, Discord to post casserole. Everybody, yeah, post your casserole recipes. Also, I don't know if we've seen Barontor yet, but if Barontor shows up, I want to find out how Barontor's chili meatloaf or Mexican meatloaf went off, because I feel like there is some really good excitement for meatloaf possibilities that I'm really excited about and I need to know about. Also, that chopped broccoli sounds really good. And Trooper, you know what you have to do before you add chopped? No. What do you have to do, Krellin, before you add chopped broccoli to the casserole? Tell me. Donuts. Yeah, be boodlefloof. Tuna casserole. Delish. Right? So you get your pasta, your tuna. I mean, Krellin, you gotta be chopping broccoli. And then you're chopping broccoli. Chopping broccoli. I love you, Krellin, just for that right now. This is what I want to know. My mom would top tuna noodle casserole with Hoffman's super white, super sharp cheddar and plain potatoes. Ooh, I'm a sucker for cheddar. Like, I'm just. Oh, look, put it in Discord. We have a whole new thing just for recipes. Put it in there. I'm excited for that. So we have some things about, like, there's a whole conversation. Donuts. So Anarchivate says, I'm fine with emulators when original developers are not getting money at all from those sales because you have to buy them used, but producers and companies don't want to lose money even when they lose 0%. Yeah, but I have another thought about this. Atomica says, so this small, okay, we'll get there. So here's the thing about emulators. Nephilim says, funny, I'm going to be cooking tuna tonight, not a casserole though. I'm broiling some yellowtail fillets dressed with some, ooh, that sounds delicious. Oh, Dana Carvey. There's a woman that I know, and if I didn't know her, she'd be the lady that I didn't know. And this lady, she goes downtown, and she bought some broccoli. And now the lady, she goes home, and now she's chopping broccoli. She's chopping broccoli. She's chopping broccoli. She's chopping broccoli. Anyway, I love that. So here's what I'm thinking about video games. So I think that video games are art, and I think that they are an important part of the cultural production of any given culture, and they say something about the time and the place. And I think it is a problem that our video games are on proprietary systems, and that then that system then goes out of production, and then no one can play that game anymore or access that game, right? So that these games basically become dead because you cannot buy a ColecoVision anymore, and the ColecoVision exclusive game is no longer playable. And I think that's wrong. I think that, could you imagine if this is what happened with film? That films were put out in that one system back in the day, and now you can never watch that film again because it's all proprietary sort of hardware. And I think it's a problem, because this is like part of our cultural heritage. Like, I really do think that. And this is also why I don't think that art should be in copyright for 70 years after the person has died. Like, I think that is way excessive. 70 years after the creator has died? No bueno. Like, I think that these things should be able to come into the public domain so that we can write about them and be inspired by them. And sure, they don't have to come to the public domain after 10 years, but like 70 years after the creator is dead is way too long. Those are my... But, Trooper, says Krellin, the Disney Corporation doesn't believe in culture unless they own it and can make money from it. That is true. Like, the Disney Corporation loves public domain when they can take it and then make it no longer public domain. And then Scabinak says, and these new retro systems only have the super popular games on them that you can get on eBay fairly reasonably anyways. Right, there's some obscure games that are really interesting that I would like to be able to write papers on or play. Well, with film, it's the equivalent of early Doctor Who episodes getting filmed over because they didn't think they'd have any value later. Yes, and that was terrible. Video games as ephemeral artifacts. And the thing is, they don't, hey, next of kin, they don't need to be, right? Like, and the thing is, the most profitable games are not ephemeral. Like, you can still play Donkey Kong. Do you know what I mean? Like, Donkey Kong is not going anywhere. But what about Looper? Or, because, so here's the thing about Looper. Looper is super interesting as a video game because it uses Bach. And if I wanted to write an article about classical music in early video games, I'd want to be able to play Looper again, not just remember it from when I was a kid. But, like, is Looper going to be available to me? This is a thing that I wonder about. NRW says, my thoughts exactly is these games are exactly the type of games that are no longer available public, normal means. Nobody can ever play any of these games, can ever play them ever again, and that seems to be a problem. So hardware trademarks expiring means you can make systems that read your cartridges now, but you still need to have access to the cartridges. Cartridge. Right, and the thing is, I'm interested in also you don't even have to go back that far. Go back to the original Xbox. There are games that were original Xbox exclusives that were basically B video games, were not popular enough to be sort of brought back. And what if I want to? And of course, the original Xbox is not being made anymore, and not all of them were backwards compatible. The Xbox 360, a number of Xbox games are backwards compatible with the 360, but not all of them. And so the ones that aren't are the more obscure ones. And what if you really want to, like, do something about that original one? I named game cartridge accidentally. Was it an accident, Jer? Cartridge, bobartridge, banana, fano, fo fartridge, fee fi mo martridge, cartridge. Maybe it wasn't an accident. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. I mean, I think that becomes something I think is really important, valuable. Like, I mean, basically, it's just part of our culture, and I want these things not to be lost. Takerosh says, for I am greed, the most base desire which encapsulates every single cardinal sin. Greed for the body of others and enjoyment, lust. Greed for the delicious meals and drinks, gluttony. Greed for the rest of comfortable beds, sloth. Greed for the revenge of our enemies, wrath. Greed for what others have gained, envy. Greed for being the best and most peerless, pride. I am greed, and I encompass them all. Oh. We had a ton of Shovel that probably won't see a new release. It's just a Freudian whip. Hello. Yeah. So I mean, I think about, this sort of thing happens with books too. Trying to find an out-of-print book can be a nightmare. The thing is, though, Atomica, if the book exists, you can still read it, right? Because it's not a proprietary format. Like, if the book still exists, you can still read it if you can find it. Whereas if I have a cartridge for a game that the system for which does not exist anymore, then I can no longer play it. And this sort of things happens to me. So you think of emulators kind of enabling archival work? Yes, next to Ken I am. I think about emulators doing archival work, and I think that the archive of that is important. You know what I mean? Like, actually, I do. And I think about the ways in which so many, what do we call them? There are a number of media that was never saved because people thought that it wasn't valuable media. And by that, I mean things like pulp magazines, a lot of magazines, especially pulp magazines, pulp novels, sometimes comic books. And so they're like fan magazines or all these things that people didn't archive because they thought, oh, it's not great art. But could you imagine what you could learn if you were able to get an entire complete run of a fan magazine of the Beatles from like the mid-60s? Like, you would learn so much about the Beatles, about culture. That fan magazine, which people thought wasn't important, is really important. And so I think that what they call low culture, I hate that term, is just as important as high culture, but they often don't save low cultural artifacts. Museums and archives are often not. I mean, I know that there's a museum of video games now, which is good, but like, I think those things are just as important because they are the culture of the mass populace, and I'm really interested in what the mass populace have to say and what they think about. So, you know, like, that's important to me. Anarch says, you don't need to go far. Last gen has dead games aplenty. You can never play Scott Pilgrim vs. the World ever again unless you have it installed for PS3 still. On the other half of the industry, Ico was the game before Shadow of Colossus. It's a great game, and I think it says something about the history, but it was only on the PS2 and can only play it up to PS3. Yeah, that's a great point. And sometimes you want to know those things for context. You know, I mean, I think... Anarctivity says, the industry prefers dead games over losing profits, even if it's $0. Right, and I think that there's something... I have a thought. I doubt I could find any place I could play Dune 2 New. Yeah. And so there's a thing about if you don't use it, you lose it, right? There is a, which, and some of that had to do with deals. Like, you know, was it Sony with Spider-Man that if they, or the Fantastic Four, that if they didn't make a Fantastic Four movie over after so much time, it would revert back to Marvel, and so they made some movies that maybe they shouldn't have done or whatever. But like, there could be some kind of idea that if you don't keep a thing in print, then maybe after a certain amount of time, that should revert in some kind of a way so that this thing, because you basically, it's not really right for somebody to be able to hold things hostage in that way, I don't think. Scabbyneck says, games that are all or partially online and the servers have been shut down, it doesn't matter whether you own them and the system or not. Yeah. Imagine what would happen if Steam went under. Oh, Atomica. Some folks just gained some ground in emulating the original Xbox's online service a month or so ago. Oh, Scabbyneck, that's so interesting. We're having this conversation while I'm playing an MMO that was shut down in 2012. Thank God for piracy. You know, I have, I bought, I'm going to point out something. I bought, there was a book called, I'll get there, Revive Star Wars Galaxies. Atomica says, I was watching some video game history. There was a device for the Super Nintendo called the X-Band that allowed online play for NES multiplayer games. Limited list, but still. And there's a community working to bring that network back into existence. So there was a book that I wanted to buy that was not in print at the time. It was called, I think it was called Take It Like a Man. Taking It Like a Man, Take It Like a Man. It was a men's men's studies book from a couple years ago by Person. Hey, Death Star Taco. It was like it was a really interesting men's, it was like Taking Like a Man of like masochism. Anyway, it was a men's studies book that was really, really interesting, and I wanted it for some of the work that I was doing. I was doing some work on masculinity in the 1920s and 1930s, and different kinds of masculinity, sort of like soft masculinity, hard masculinity. I was doing a bunch of stuff about youth masculinity versus, especially post-World War I. I was doing a bunch of stuff on masculinity studies.
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Thank you for the follow, Brad Sarad. Thank you so much. Thank you. Since it was mentioned, I would love to play Dune 2. It's important to history of real-time strategy game history, but you cannot... that's... I think that's a bummer. Right, so I was wanting to do some work on masculinity studies, and there was this book called Taking It Like a Man that I really wanted, but it was not in our library, and I couldn't get a physical copy. I think it was out of print. So I went and I bought it, but it was available as a PDF on like electronic format. So I bought the PDF, I bought it, so I owned it. But it was in a proprietary format. It was like a locked PDF that you could only read through this certain program, and that program no longer exists anymore. So I bought this PDF of this book, and I can no longer read it. A book that I own, because it was using a proprietary format, and the reader for it is no longer supported. And I don't like that. I still need to see if I can find that book, maybe from Amazon or something, somewhere used, or like a Libris or one of the sort of used book places that I know, because it was a really good, it was an earlier masculinity studies book, and it was a really good one that I found like a lot of interesting stuff in it. And I also own it, but I cannot read it, and that bothers me. And look, I think that digital media is fine as long as it's not proprietary, right? As long, like, yes, it's further arguments for physical archives and media at large. I just think that these things should, yes. Because look, I'm going to tell you, I think video games are really important art. I think they're important for culture. I think they're important for history. I think they are valuable cultural artifacts. I think that they are just as important as the Mona Lisa. And I don't care how dumb you think the video game is, I think they're still important. And I think that because they are important cultural products, there should be an archive of them, and these things should not just go away. And it's because I actually, I value video games as art. Death Star, what's really interesting though about those wax cylinders is that you can still buy those wax cylinders and you can still play them. I do not currently have a Victrola, but one of my former professors does. Like, you can still buy Victrolas and you can still buy wax cylinders and play them. Those wax cylinders are still playable, and you can still buy Victrolas, right? So the thing is, and that's the thing that gets me, that I could, if I wanted to, go and play a wax cylinder from the 1890s today, but I can't play that one video game from the Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of madness is that? What kind of madness is that? Soren Lund says, maybe reverse engineering DMCA exemption might apply to that book. Maybe. But but the thing is, usually you're not allowed to hack into those things. Copyright needs to be abolished completely, and it definitely needs to be reworked. Nephilim, there are a lot of nerdy collectors out there. Creators should get paid for their creations, but why are they still under copyright after that creator is dead? For 70 years after that creator is dead. There are movies based on video games and books claiming they don't matter for cultural history is stupid. I agree, Jabai. The Call of Cthulhu group makes the wax recording. Oh, they do chromatic. Yes. Oh, yeah. No, it's pretty cool. Like that. It's the HP Lovecraft Society. They do all sorts of really cool things. Yeah. Carlin says, there was a game I played on my TRS-80, whose name I can't remember. I thought it was Dungeon, but I'm not sure of that now. It was a vector graphics 3D dungeon crawl with a bunch of different enemies, the toughest of which I ever encountered were blobs. Blob made this specific gurgling noise that still haunts my nightmares sometimes, but I can't find any evidence of this game today. Yeah. Now, Anarchdebate points out there are films of the 1900s that you can never see, never. That's true. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One of them is that this is also about sort of value, that back in the day, they didn't store archives of the films. They didn't keep a lot of those films in archives. They just would like run through them. And so the most popular films just disintegrated through lots of use. And a lot of these companies kept poor records, or they didn't keep good archives, or they only kept one copy in an archive and no one else had a copy, and then there was a fire at Paramount. So, and you can never see certain Doctor Who episodes because at that point in time, they didn't think that Doctor Who was worth archiving. Although, every once in a while, they find random copies of early Doctor Who episodes. Because, like, I think they found some in South Africa recently, right? Because, like, the BBC would send off copies of Doctor Who to their affiliates to play, but the early BBC didn't actually keep, like, there's almost no extant copies of the first season of The Avengers. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 episodes total. They have the script still, but they didn't value those things as worthwhile art, right? They didn't. I mean, first off, a lot of those early TV things were not recorded on film; they were recorded on video, which degrades super fast, and they also just recorded over them. And it wasn't because of proprietary systems; it was because they just didn't think those things were valuable, which breaks my heart. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Dungeons of Daggorath. Ooh. I talked with Trooper about this earlier. I still think OGL licenses should be the default when it comes to copyright. Yeah. Chromatic Chameleon says, I've been waiting for the Bard's Tale to come back out, which would also be important to a music in video games. It would. The Bard spells each of their own tone. Right, and so there are things that are really valuable and interesting. When I worked at a print shop, we would reclaim the silver from the negative, so that may also have happened to some of them. Yes, that's also true. A huge archive of music. Yes, a huge archive of early music was lost in a fire. I think that was Paramount. Oh, Krellin found it. Ah. We should send the dice Osprey reclaimed. Yeah, and they just recorded over them because they didn't think it was valuable. And that needless to say distresses me. And especially since it's often things that are not considered valuable that are sort of gotten rid of. But I'm going to talk class for a moment, right? Class and marginalization. What is considered high art is often the art that is valued by the upper classes. And what is considered low art is often considered the art of the marginalized. And that might be the poor, the rural, people of color, women, et cetera, et cetera. So like the things that are considered low art, and think about Doctor Who. Doctor Who was a sci-fi show. People didn't think of that in the very first couple of seasons as being valuable because it was just some sci-fi show for kids, right? So like, who cares? But it's precisely because those things are aimed at these marginalized groups, children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that I find them so valuable because they tell you something really important about a time period other than the official story. And it breaks my heart that those things are often not archived. I think we're getting better as a culture in recognizing those things as being valuable. I think we're getting better, but for a long time, we just wouldn't. We just wouldn't. Next of kin says, what about emulators with limited access so creative teams could get credit and or compensation rather than entirely open access? Sure. Of course, one of the problems is that those creative teams often don't get paid at all because they usually work for hire. So very oftentimes the creative teams get screwed over because corporations will own those things and not the creators. And that's one of the problems also with music, that oftentimes the creator doesn't own it. It's the corporation that does. And so that becomes, you know, a problem. Oh, Bard's Tale been released. Excellent. Yeah, sci-fi edutainment show for kids. They didn't think it was valuable to keep. Sorlin says, with Doctor Who, the contracts were for a limited period, but it cost a lot to mail them back. So they sent out copies with instructions to destroy them after the contract period. Fortunately, a lot of people just put them aside, either forgot to destroy them or a fan took them home. Right, and so that's why we actually have some of these early, especially the first season or so, right? Because somebody didn't send them back, and thank goodness, because that's important. I mean, oh my goodness. I have thoughts. And Bar Garwin says, popular art for the masses? Who would care about such a thing? Oh, that's right, they were part of the Bard's Tale 4 Kickstarter. Yes. I see you, Tomica. So I was thinking about something. So, you know, I teach a class on 1960s spies in music and media, the cultural politics of 1960s spies in music and media. And I mostly focus on the US and the UK, the spy media from those two countries, mainly because my classes are only 13 weeks long and the first week never really counts. So I only get 12 weeks, my seminars, to do all of this work. And if I opened it up, so for example, there are a bunch of Euro spy films from the 1960s that are really interesting. There are Italian ones, there's some French ones, there are a bunch of German ones, West German ones, and I have some of them, and I would really love to include them in this class, but I don't have time really to do it justice. But I do spend 1 week on Soviet spy films from the 1960s, so we can get a contrast. So we do Top Secret and 12 Moments of Spring. So we do we do 1 week on Soviet spy stuff. But
Name Game.
Name Game? Oh my gosh! The Name Game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say bow at a B. Then I say the name. Then banana, fan, or info. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a Fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can rhyme. Rissa, 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 Bobissa, Banana, Fana, Fofissa, Fee, Fi, Momissa. Rissa. Ooh. Hey, everybody. Yay, name game. Half-Lost Hermit, you're welcome. You're welcome for putting it in your head. There was something I want to tell you. Do you have a few weeks on Believe It or Not and its essential effect on right? So basically, I think they're valuable. I think they're important. I do have a thought for you all. I'm going to what's the word? Tempt you all with something, but I want to get to that comment that Atomica made about GURPS and weapon damage. Wait, where was it? It was up here. I did not. Okay, this is a small amount of video game physics because the game is going to be based after old school beat 'em ups. But I think an average weapon like a wooden baseball bat will last for 3 hits. Something more fragile might have 1 or 2 hits. Something tougher might get up to 5 contacts. That would be a swift and fast, easy way to do it. If you care, you could actually figure out the hit points for each item if you wanted, because there are ways to do that in GURPS to figure out what the hit points are for inanimate objects like swords, etc. So if you wanted, you could also just figure out the hit points for weapons, or you could just eyeball it. Either way, it's fine. Either way. Greatest American Hero, best superhero. It's all psyops, Half-Lost Hermit. No doubt there's some worse things winding up sucking one's head. Yes, but see what's gonna happen is we all get the name game and then world peace. There's like a couple steps in between. I'm not quite certain how it works out, but like there's something about like singing the name game, something, world peace. Boom. Okay, look, I want to tell you all something before. Okay, I'm gonna do this. No, wait, I'm not gonna do that yet. I have to tell you something first. We have a giveaway for today. I've remembered. Our giveaway for today is Mages of Mistralia, which is an indie action adventure game. And that's gonna be our giveaway, which we're gonna do, around 8-ish or something. Okay, so that said, now we're gonna put the game on so I can tell you about RPGs. And you're like, how does that work? Well, it just does. That's all. I'd wield a sword breaker, except a gladiator probably would need all the coin they could get. Sword breakers. So I think we're going this way. All right, so it's about RPGs. In the hero system, it would be a focus with charges and a non-rechargeable limitation. Oh, you could do that in GURPS too, actually. I mean, it depends on how you want to do it. If you want to, like, in Heroes, everything's a power. In GURPS, some things are equipment, but you could also build equipment as powers if you wanted. So if you wanted to make all the weapons powers, you could do that. Or you could just have them be equipment, have that equipment be breakable. Yeah, so like in GURPS, you can either do it the hero way, where it's a power with an equipment limitation, or you can just make it equipment. So there are options. I notice I have over 70k extra credit. What on earth am I going to spend them on? I will figure it out. I will figure out. But here's the thing. I want the extra credit to be interesting and not boring. That's all. I want the weapons to last only a single fight, like a power-up. Oh, then just make them powers. And Bar Garwin, in the character set, you can just basically build all of your weapons as attacks. So basically, because they have what's it called? Basically, what you can do is you can make all of your attacks powers with the gadget limitation and like breakable and limited charges. So like you could just do that if you wanted. Spend 1,000k for a 1% increase to your final grade. Oh, well, no. See, but the thing is, Rissa, I'm thinking about more exciting things, like especially if I can put on if I can put on an arena, that'll make other things possible. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Clearly, fate points in Kolos were too cheap, Trooper. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, Krellin. I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out how many points I should make a fate point, how many extra credit I should make a fate point for Kolos. And the reason why I set it at 5,000 was because I figured out how many extra credit points you get per hour. And if you are a subscriber versus if you're not a subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber, you don't get many. So I was thinking, if you're a person who just started watching City of Light and Shadow, just started it, and you are not a subscriber, you're a brand new person, how many episodes do I want you to wait before you're able to buy an extra credit point? And I think if you were a brand new person to the channel and you were not a subscriber, I think it would take you, I think I had it placed at like 2 episodes of watching it, maybe 2. I can't remember exactly, but I wanted people who were brand new and not subscribers to also be able to afford fate points support. I didn't want them to be locked out, you know, so I made it high enough that it wouldn't be too fast, but low enough that a brand new person would be able to get a fate point. I ruined my college's day groups, interesting groups, by making split personality Roman senator who, when angered, would go into rage using extra points to make a combat god. That is doable. Maybe you can use extra credits for like maybe voting for extracurricular studies subjects. Mm-hmm. You could put a bunch of topics for us to spend points on, and you give us a 10-minute lesson on said subject. If you think about it, problem is they go like snap, and those users don't get a chance to buy. Although I got some coming in. Finale -1, so everything climaxes at the same time. The fight points are more available. That's about right. I've seen parts of 3 plus your BM lecture, and I'm at right. I'm at 4.6K. Right. So I really wanted to make it so that new folks wouldn't be shut out, basically. Yeah, but it was too low to drain the reserves of your regular subscribers. So that plus supply means no one got to buy them. People did get to buy them. It's just they only got to buy 4. Just need something with a similar cost, but there are more than 4 a week available. Sounds like you have ideas bouncing around. You have a lot. Yeah, so I just have to basically figure out what we can do with different things. Look, I have to tell you something. You're distracting me from the thing I wanted to tell you. Guess what, everybody? I have an idea for next season. Yeah, we need other ways to use them. I'll have to figure out what they're going to be. Something, but I don't want them to be bogus. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could be like, hey, spend 1,000 and remind me to drink water, but I just feel like that's not exciting enough. So that's not what I want. Like, I could be like, make me drink water, but I'm like, I want something that's like, ooh, that's not exciting. I mean, you know, it's not exciting enough. So look, I have to tell you, it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky. But I have an idea of something that I think would be really cool for season 2. A couple of things. You not being dehydrated is actually pretty exciting. Hi, Tamika. What is it, Tamika? What? Can one of them be the follow song because that's my favorite alert, but it's not one I can force. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so 2 things. 1, I am going to investigate World Anvil between the seasons. And what I'm looking for is the following. 1, I want a calendar, a real-time calendar, well, an in-game calendar, because consequences dissipate based on time. So I want some way to track that. But also, I want, I would like to be able to have each player's character sheet up on World Anvil if they consent to it, because their characters are theirs. And because I think it would be really interesting for you all to, if people who are not in the game can see the World Anvil, which I think they can, if you could see their character sheets, that would allow you to see where they're at, because let me tell you what. I don't know if you knew this, but if Tango had got hit by that guy, by the guard with the gun, he would have died. Like, that's it. He would have just been dead. Because he could not have, like, that hit, that it was like a it was like a 5-shift hit or whatever it was. That hit was so bad that Tango was so basically compromised by what happened at his solo session that he would have just died. And it might be really interesting if you all could see that. So I have to, yeah, he would have died. Like, that's it. He just would have died. And you aren't allowed to investigate if you don't go full noir aesthetic. It's just the rules. Hey, roll damage. How are you? I'm doing very well. And I think it would have been interesting if you all, and like, so here's the thing. You know how when you're watching Critical Role, they've got that integration with D&D Beyond so you can see their characters? That's super cool. That cool overlay. I don't know how I can do that with Fate. And I don't know if that's possible to do that, if there's some way to do it. So I'm hoping that maybe World Anvil, I'm going to investigate World Anvil. So one of my goals for the second season of City of Light and Shadows is to see whether or not, hey, the luggage, to see if World Anvil would be cool. That's one thing. Second thing, I don't know. I have to investigate them to see if they're cool. Second thing, this is a thing that I'm going to tell you, and it's really not fair because I can't actually tell you it is because it would be a massive spoiler. Roll Damage says, I want to learn to make Twitch extensions to make that kind of stuff. Would be amazing to integrate with Roll20. Yes. Roll Damage, if you could do that, I would die. No, then you might not do it. I wouldn't die. I'd be super excited. I would love that. I'd be like, yay. I would be so excited if you could do that. I would be into it. So hardcore. Map of Paris with location markers. Yeah, sure, we could put that on World Anvil. So basically, I would like to, one of my goals for the second season is to get something like that. And if World Anvil does it and will allow other people, and will allow the viewers to watch it, that would be aces. So that's something that I'm hoping to explore once I move and get settled in. The next thing I can't tell you. Are you ready? I'm gonna just tease it. I have an idea. I have an idea for season 2 that would be awful, wonderful, exciting, the worst, the best. I mean, for me, it would be the best. But it would be the worst. Oh. Also, let's just be upfront. You know what I'm really excited about? Our heroes were able to get out of their conundrum by convincing the Gestapo that they're actually double agents for military intelligence. And I want to see how that's going to work out for them. I want to see how that is going to work out for them because that's a bold lie, and I want to see what's gonna happen with that one. Because here's the thing, they're gonna be asked to do things. If they're double agents, they're gonna be asked to do things, and I want to know if they're willing to do those things. So for those of you who do not know what kind of GM I am in my home space, like where I am when I'm happy as a GM, where I'm like, because I can do lots of things. Like Cthulhu Confidential is a very different system, and so I have to GM that differently. If I were GMing a D&D module, I'd have to GM that differently. So like different. If I'm doing a one shot, I do that very differently. So different styles. But when I'm in my home joy as a GM. What I'm there for, and I realize this is not everybody's thing, I'm not into traditional narrative, right? Like that's not my thing. I actually, like some people love it, but it's not my thing. I'm not into like set up, rising tension, climax denouement, that thing that you get in films and books. Like it's not my thing. It's not my thing. Like it's interesting, but I think that RPGs can do much more than that. And I was just talking to somebody about this, where they're like, the final episode didn't seem like the big climax. Like it didn't seem like the big, huge, big bad. And I was like, no, it isn't, right? Like it was a thing that's been there all along. They decided to do it, but like in my home space, I don't structure things that way, where like it's the big season with the big bad and then you defeat the big bad and it all leads up to this, and therefore I have to make sure that this thing doesn't get revealed early or that thing doesn't get revealed early, that I've got to plan it so that it all happens around the big moment, right? But I don't yeah, embargo traditional triangle action, no thanks. Like, I think that that's really great and people really enjoy that, but I'm interested in the kinds of stories you get when you embrace the fact that RPGs can also be something different. So somebody was talking to me, they're like, oh, so did you mean for the Arctic wolf to be killed that easily? Like, didn't that kind of ruin her story that she got killed that easily, when you could like stretch that out and then she could have been the big bad and the whole big thing? And I was like, it's fine. I mean, she got killed the way she got killed. I mean, I had her running away and escaping so that she was like gonna be out. And technically, if somebody concedes, like, probably she shouldn't have been killed because she conceded, and so I took her out of the conflict, and so she should have gotten away. But Tango made a whole bunch of choices in order to actually take her down, despite the fact that she went away. And I was like, well, I feel like he's making some choices that are super bad choices for him, and I'm gonna let that go, right? He was like, no, even though she should escape, I'm gonna chase her down in the street in front of a bunch of witnesses, and I'm gonna do this thing. And for me, that was great. You know what I mean? Like, that was, oh, roll damage. Let us know what happens. Let us know. I'm very excited about this. And that she got killed like that doesn't ruin the story for me. That becomes the next part of the story because it has an impact on that character, right? He's a person that always stands up for women, and he just killed one. It was the first person he killed. And for me, what I'm interested in is what stories emerge out of character change. Like, for me, story is when location, situations, or characters face something and then react to it. So for me, that became the story. And was it your traditional story? No, but I found that really interesting that it wasn't. I thought that it was really interesting that all of a sudden he killed this woman and it wasn't Regina who killed her, and it didn't happen the way you thought it would. That's interesting. And they made some choices, and I'm really interested to find out what those choices will mean for them. What will happen for this group based on the choices they've made, right? And they are killing a lot of Nazis, and things can't help but heat up. And they've only been like a cell. I mean, it's tricky because they've only been on screen for a week. Like, the season 1 encompassed about 8 or 9 days. And the cell with the members that you have only been together for about 8 or 9 days, about 10 days. But the group was a cell before Tango came in. It's just that they didn't have any support from London, i.e. they were not being streamed yet, if that makes any sense. Like, they were running around doing things, like Regina, Sylvie, and Jules were doing things, but they just had no connections to anybody else besides themselves. So they didn't really have... they weren't, like, they were a cell, but they didn't have any larger support. And then Tango's was airdropped in to help to bring them in a little bit to SOE influence. So, and to give them, right, to sort of coordinate, because it was still pretty early in the war. So, right, they are, yeah. So, they didn't really have but now they're very, now they've got some cohesion, and I'm interested to see what will happen, including what will happen with, like, I mean, there are things. I'm not going to do big bad evil end battle. I'm more interested in making different ending for my Stalker game. I'm planning ending the story. It's going to have one of their friends fused into a radio tower and leaving players decide what they will do to their friend. I think that is a way to end story, something like Stalker. Ambiguous, a little unsatisfying, that is how book ended. Oh, nice. And for me, what I'm doing when I'm doing a sandbox is that I don't think about where I'm going to end the season. I just know that I'm going to have to end the season, right? So for me, what I'm thinking is, okay, we start here. What are the main themes that are sort of going to be happening? What are the consequences for all their actions? What is the theme that's going to, what are the thematics that are going to happen? What are the things that are happening in the world? Like, what is the world doing? And then when do we have a good natural pause? And that's where we end it. Speaking of which, somebody asked me a question because I was talking to someone who was like, hey, there are these things that sort of like you raised in the season and then you dropped them and they're just like, they don't go anywhere anymore. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not how it goes. We were lucky to have a major action ending. It could have ended after, it could have ended after saving Sylvie. That would have also been a totally fine ending. Saving Sylvie would have been a totally fine ending as well. And they could have done that. For all I know, like, I didn't know. For all I know, they could have decided to go after the gas in the second to last episode, the penultimate episode, and then save Sylvie in the last episode because they knew that Fox would be there for that last episode. So they could have done that. They could have actually reversed the order, and that would have been fine too, actually. That would have... Yeah, and see, Coldrake, this is correct. I never forget. Things will come back. It may seem like things have been dropped, but they're not dropped. They're not dropped. So, like, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, so for example, I was talking to Stiver about the Hawk, right? The Marcel Petiot, the serial killer. I know exactly where this is going. The showdown with Mecha Suit Hitler is inevitable. It is. That is true. So, you know, the serial killer. Hello, we're talking about GMing sandboxes, and how if you're thinking about your GM of your game in terms of traditional narrative, where, because I was talking to somebody who was like, oh, there are these things that you brought up and then the players didn't bite, and so now they're just gone. And so, like, they must have been like, so he said to me, I'm interested in what things you've left on the cutting room floor, as if, like, I cut things out of the story. But that's not how I do it in a sandbox. Just because the players are not looking at it doesn't mean it's not there anymore. It's still there. It's still there. And so I think the best example was the serial killer, the Dr. Serial Killer, who I introduced in episode 1, and who was killing people the entire season. And I gave hints, and it looked like at one point in time that they would just not pick up on it, that they weren't going to follow that lead. That's what it looked like. And I was like, okay. Like, if they don't follow the lead of the serial killer, it doesn't mean the serial killer is not there. It means that serial killer is going to keep killing people, and maybe it'll come up again in season 2. But the serial killer is there, killing people who are looking to get out of Paris, and is blaming the resistance for it. If you do not think that would not come up again, then you are mistaken. It just so happens that Stiver decided that he wanted to look into it on his solo episode, but he almost didn't. And if he didn't, that would have been fine too. But that serial killer doesn't go anywhere. The serial killer remains and would come back, right? Bringing stuff back works so well too. Oh yeah, and also Atomica, I'm really excited for your first campaign. The Death Star Taco says, is a living dynamic world. Things are happening even if it's off camera. Exactly. Roll Damage says, sandbox is a new term to me with regards to RPG. Is there a quick explanation? Oh, sure. Roll Damage, yes. And I realize it doesn't look like we're playing this game, but we totally are, because you can see it on the screen. Coldrake says, double agent claims. Gestapo will continue hounding them and figuring out what the fuck is going on with these people. Oh, yes, they will. Half-Off Stormert says, Roll Damage, no single narrative track. Players are given a world to play in and do whatever they want, like playing in a sandbox. Yes. So what's interesting is that, so Half-Off is correct, but there are also different ways to do sandboxes, and I'm going to, but by the way, when I get to my new place, I'm going to order a fancy camera, and I'm going to make videos. And there are different ways to do sandboxes. And when people think about sandboxes, they're often thinking about Bethesda video games like Fallout 3, where the designers just create a world and then they just drop you in it, and then you just do whatever you want. You kind of wander around, right? So there's no story. You just wander around in a place. That's not how I do my sandboxes. I don't find that particularly enjoyable. I think that can be, let me rephrase it. I would do that kind of sandbox only with players who are really, really, really proactive and really, really, really experienced with sandbox play. Otherwise, I just wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it at all. So so that's I would call that location-based sandboxes, where what you spend your time doing is creating locations. And that's what a lot of people think of when they think of the sandbox. You create the location, and then the players just do whatever they want in that location, right? So location-based sandbox, and I think a lot of people do that, right? They're like, let me create the place, and here's this location, here's this location, here's this location, and right? So I don't do my sandboxes that way because I don't find them particularly, I find they can be unsuccessful if you do them that way. So what I do instead is what I call a directed sandbox. And so for a directed sandbox to work, one, before the game starts, the players have to have a direction, right? So you talk to the players and you're like, okay, we need to have a coherent group of people who have goals, who have a direction that they themselves want to do. I'm not going to just say, hey, make a random character, you're in the world, go. I find that doesn't work very well. So the players themselves have to have a direction. And that's one of the things that I'm going to do and talk to the players about for season 2 is where they're thinking about. And then, as Luggage says, even a sandbox needs a situation of some kind. Yeah. Embar Garwin, sandbox TTRPG is more of a do whatever you want, but be aware that whose his face is over here massing an army and is going to attack. Yes. So for me, a directed sandbox is, while there are no rails, you as a player can do whatever you want, there are people in the universe and they have plans, right? Tristan Hassel, the head of the Gestapo, has plans and is going to carry out those plans. That serial killer has plans, is going to carry out those plans. And so that there are plans in the universe. People are doing things, and the players have to decide what they want to do proactively and reactively about those things. I think Burning Wheel was cool for that with the belief system where they have goals. Cultists, yeah. Random characters created in a vacuum that usually don't work that well in sandboxes. They do not. Random characters created in a vacuum work well on rails, where there's a specific storyline that you're going to push them through, but they do not work as well for sandboxes, and that can be a bit of a problem. Sadly, that doesn't work because it sounds too great. Make characters, here's the world, go. Yeah, yeah. In Fallout 3, you could do anything you wanted, but you wanted to find your father, and that was where the main plot was. Yeah, except that it never really felt all that vital. You know what I mean? It didn't really, I just spent a lot of time not finding my father. I didn't feel a lot of pressure. I would argue that a complete world would, of necessity, include proactive NPCs in terms of what they want. Krellin, more like the original Fallout where you have time limits, even if you don't know it. Like if you take too long finding the water chip, mutants overrun the necropolis, or if you take too long stopping the master, he takes control. Yeah, that's more like what I'm thinking about. That there is a timetable running that's out there, and you decide how you want to interact with it. Coldrake, Trooper set up the world based on the history of time, especially with World War II Paris. We go to actual spots, actual instances, and the players decide how they're going to react. But also, I made sure that there were proactive tensions happening, so that if the players didn't do anything, things would still be happening, and probably things they don't want. You know what I mean? Probably things they don't want to happen would still be happening. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with Smitty's sacrifice, the big wrinkle in my storyline. So for those who don't know, Riss and I are in a game together, and one of the players made some in-character choices that resulted in their death. And we have to figure out what we're going to do about that one, what we're going to do about that. This situation will always influence do anything. You know what, Coldrake, but sometimes there are games that don't have situations. I think this is especially a problem, World Damage is, I think, sandboxes where not just the location is built, but situations and characters are also built. Yes. Sounds like that's exactly what you're talking about, though. Yes, that's exactly right. The world has clocks, just not player presence cutscenes like a view. Yeah. Let's finish this. Hello! Yeah, and I think that one of the problems is that sometimes world builders get really in love with the world and they don't make the situation. This is a problem for people who get like, they're like, I don't know, like I've seen it, people who are like really into their world, they're like, oh, and here there's this, and I've built the entire economy, and I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done all these things, I've made the entire space, but they have no space for the players to exist. Like they don't even think about the player's existence in that, and they don't really give them a situation. They're just like, I've built the most amazing city, and like I can tell you all these things about it, but there's no situation. They're just like, I built the city. Start. But if there's no situation, that's you're gonna leave the characters really high and dry, and that's no good. Fallout 4 stolen baby plot and sandboxy Minecraft world is the greatest plot mismatch ever. Tristan's sense of the military intelligence. Oh yeah, you can sandbox for random characters, but you need them in advance so you can add their backstories, desires, etc. to the world. Quite often you'll require the characters to have some relation to the hook, but it isn't vital. That was me for years. Look at this cool world, guys. Okay, what to do? Yeah. Toda! Yeah, so you have to like... Yeah, you have to connect the players to the world, to the sandbox, or else it's not going to work out very well unless you have very, very, very proactive players. But it's like, give them something. Do you know what I mean? And give them something. You got to give them something. And sometimes some world builders get so caught up in building the world, and I see this sometimes in video games, they don't really give the players anything to do. And that's not as great. I'm so grateful for my kin, Yoshi. He's a trusty friend. And he keeps my lap nice and cozy too. I always keep Yoshi very close to me. I feel so relaxed with him around. Once, when I was a kid, I was separated from my parents. I was so scared, but Yoshi made me feel okay. He started howling until my parents found us. He's a smart little boy. Getting in and out of Rule has gotten challenging as the war escalated. Are you from outside Rule? How did you get in? I bet you had to bust your way through the border wall, didn't you? The look on your face. I'm only joking, you know. Although, it was true. I had the other side of the world builder coin. I was used to just generating characters, but because it was fun to build a person, yeah. I think one of the issues might be the savior trope. How you have a bunch of folks usually not from the region, and at best benevolent outsiders, not robbed into just cultures and peoples of agency. Murderers, hobos, or godlike saviors, yeah, right. So like you have to sort of find a way, and it's tricky because you have to like, but again, you have to have the right players. Some players do not, there are players that want to be murder hobos. They do not want to have any ties to a place. They do not have any constraints on their behavior whatsoever. None, zero. They don't want any, like they want to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, with no repercussions. And like yeah. And often they don't care about their other fellow players, and that can be so problematic. Yeah. I think it can also be more important than in a set narrative to create a group that works together and have reason to stay together. With a set story, there's always that we need to do this thing to bind the group together. We can split later. In the sandbox, yeah. The more open your sandbox, the more group cohesion you need to have. Like, but that is just, I mean, that's just really, really true. In a railroady game, it doesn't really matter because you're like, and you're on the railroad, go! Whoosh! It's a roller coaster of fun! Whoosh! Monsters, go! Whoosh! Ah! Right? Like, you're all in it. But the more open it is, the more that group really has to have good cohesion. More and more, I like games where the GM builds a lot of the world and then the players also take on some minor world building on the fly. I never ran a game like that, but not that I'm getting back into GMing. I'm really interested in that. Yeah, and there are also different ways to sort of do that. How about I built this city on rock and roll, and now this is happening currently with these peoples and factions. What will you do? That can backfire, Anarch W. You really have to do a lot of... you have to vet the characters. I mean, I will tell you, you have to vet the characters ahead of time, because if you build a city and you say that this is what's currently happening with the people in the factions, what will you do? And they create characters who do not care about any of that, it's going to fall flat, right? I mean, and that becomes that can be a real problem, right? So like for City of Light and Shadow, I said, hey, we're going to be in Paris in 1941. You all need to be French Resistance members. You can be any kind of French Resistance member you want. You don't have to be French, but you need to be a French Resistance member. That is the setup. Like, and that your goal is to be in the French Resistance and fight the Nazis and all of that. And we talked about it. I was like, okay, what do you like? I talked to them about like, how do you want to organize your resistance? And they talked about sort of like art, sort of preserving art as like their initial thing. And I was like, great, okay, I can work with that. But if I just said, hey, it's gonna be 1941 occupied Paris, make a character, anything you want, that would be a problem, because you're inevitably going to get somebody who's like, I just want to stay at home and not be involved. And then I, as a GM, have to spend so much time and effort forcing situations where that character who doesn't want to be involved ends up having to get involved. And there's always going to be somebody who makes that character. And I'm going to just tell you, I just say no to those characters. Like, and I realize that like GMs are not supposed to say no, but I will say, for this game, you need to make a character who at least wants to do this thing. And if you make a character that doesn't want to do that thing, I'm going to say no to that character, because it is habit that there are players who will make characters who do not want to participate, and they will expect the GM to do all of the labor to get them to participate. And I am just not going to do that. I can just not do that. I can just say, how about we make a character who does want to participate? And then we all can have fun, rather than me having the worst time ever as a GM, because I keep, and then it also impacts the other players, because then the other players have to deal with the fact that they have a player who never wants to, like a character who never wants to be there. It's like, it's rough. It's really rough. Those are the players you just send into a total war with a neighboring country and let them go to town. I had to build the world extensively so as to show you can help. You can even be a major hero, but these people were solving their problems before you. You are a catalyst, not the sole proponent of victory. Yeah, that's really great. But I made a loner rogue who doesn't trust anybody to play this TRPG with a group. Yeah, just no. No. Odious says, I've looked out. I've usually fairly coordinated players and a fairly robust predictive analytics engine, and that's really good. Scabinex says, I proposed 4 games to the group and each one had a buy-in listed for the character. Yes. Krellin says, when 3E came out, I built a city, then let my players build whatever characters they wanted, and then threw them in an underground, literally fighting arena, and that was my story. They fought in the arena for a few sessions and cycled through 3 characters, and then they plotted their escape. I really do love gladiators plotting escape. That's some good times. I do love that. But then there's some buy-in there. Soronlin says, players come in 3 levels. At first level, they roll the dice or min-max the points and have no idea what their personality is. At 3rd level, they will design interesting characters who fit well into the world. Gymming level 3 players is easy and great fun. However, between those 2 points, they tend to create interesting and detailed characters that don't work well with other characters and have no interest in following the plot. To GM them, you need a rock-solid crucible. Yeah, but it also depends on the kind of game, you know? Like, with those people, sometimes what they want is they just want to play a Pathfinder, you know, an adventure path. That's what they want. They don't want all the rest of that. They want that, and then that's, if you're going to GM them, you should be giving that to them. Trooper says, roll damage. Thoughts on discussing player motivations before starting? Seems like a difficult balance between cohesion and direction, and potential spoilers. Well, motivations and secrets are different, right? Like, you can discuss character motivations while still preserving secrets. But also, there are a lot of secrets players don't need to have from each other, but they can still have from their characters. It sort of depends on what the setup is. I would like to be a professional golfer. I actually had someone who wanted that in CNC, and well, no, right? Like, it's not gonna work out. Coldrake says, unless you're doing a solo game, the challenge is to present the potential for your solo rogue to dovetail into a group action. Maybe not saying you're going to share daggers with the BFF, but for some reason being with them is better than not being with them, right? But like, I will only okay that solo character if I know the player is committed to making that solo character work in a group. But sometimes they're not. And then they got run out of town because the barbarian thought it was an insult to be asked to give up his weapon at the gates of the fancy place, and then had to make up the rest of the world on the fly. So that was fun. And Bar Garwood says, if I'm building a setting, I tell my players the basic premise of the setting and or give them something like, you are currently employed by the king to be his agent. some kind of and like it could like, and the buy-in could be really different. Like there are a lot of different kinds of buy-ins, but there should be some kind of buy-in. And the buy-in might not be buy-ins could be jobs, right? I mean, that's French resistance, that's a job, but the buy-in could also be, I did one game where the buy-in was you had to be related to this one, an NPC. There was an NPC and the players had to be in some way related to this NPC who was going to go missing in the first episode, right? So that was one kind of buy-in, but that was for a more linear, short, that was like for like a 8 sessions and we're done. It was like a short run game that was not going to last beyond that, because that is not necessarily going to keep the group cohesive. Or for shorter games, like you can do buy-ins like be in this location at this time, like make a character who would be at this diner in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of like on the middle of the highway, in the middle of the desert, New Year's Eve, midnight. Make a character who'd be at this like lone diner. Now you know that the whole adventure's gonna be around this diner, so that's their buy-in. That's fine. Everyone's there. We're all good. But you're not. I don't expect that campaign to last particularly long. You know. So like you can do different kinds of buy-ins. Yeah. We had a min-maxer prisoner murder hobo Warforged, and we entered the Curse of Strahd, and we were so overpowered. He was sad he couldn't touch anything. Javai says, if half the game is convincing the character in the party to stay with the party or go with the main goal of the group, it very easily gets tiresome really fast. It does. And that's also a form of spotlight hogging, right? Like if everybody always has to spend time convincing one player's character to be a present, that character's basically being a spotlight hog. And it's not great. It's not great. I think I only have one player who had a murder loot hobo, but I was fortunate this character is very invested in another character who does care. If you can't tie them to the world, tie them to each other. My character flees to Switzerland. I become an apprentice watchmaker. I win. Okay, you win. Right? Yeah. Did you help give the characters help on creation focus in a session 0? Yes, we had a session 0. Trooper usually lucks out, and then this game has spoilers. They're 40 plus years old. Spoiler, French resistance wins. No, we're not stopping here. The bind could be surprised you're slaves in a fighting arena. Good thing your D&D characters and thus competent fighting. Yeah. My friend is a communist. Yes. And so, I think that it becomes really important to sort of figure out how you're going to sort of work buy-in. Rissa says, I was in a game where the premise was the reading of a will, where one of the conditions of inheritance was that you had to live in the descendant's deceased ancestral home for a year with everyone else. You leave, you forfeit your share. It was both fun and terrifying. Call of Cthulhu. Yes. My friend's a communist? He holds meetings, but I can't afford to go to those. Ooh, I don't have diddly squat. But it's not about having what you want. It's wanting what you got. I'm gonna soak up the sun. Remind everyone to lighten up. Because when you feel down, you really got no one to blame but yourself. Maybe I'm not the king of rule, but I'm the king of me. You don't need cash to be happy. Because hey, the sun's free. Food is not free though, Tyrone. Tyrone, food, however, is not free. Tyrone. Roll damage says, well, like, specifically I'm building a story in Eclipse phase where the characters start as normals, where they encounter a threat which may lead them to being invited to join Firewall. But how do you know they won't just go danger? Nope, I'm out without telling them, not secret. But, oh, roll damage, for that one you have to tell them. Yeah, so, I barely got out with my life, so yay. Every purposer is an NPC in the game right now, but age up 20 years. Yeah, so the thing is, this is the thing that you have to be really careful about twists. Like you really do.
Name game.
Oh, name game. The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bow at a bee, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can rhyme. Critch twitch, crit twitch, bo bitch twitch, banana, fanner, fo fit twitch, fee, fi, mo, mit twitch. Crit twitch. Thanks for the resub, Crit Twitch. I am a black silhouette, and I don't know why, but I am. I don't even know why. So here's the thing about bait and switch. I think that generally speaking, it is dangerous to do a bait and switch without getting buy-in. So, twist should be something that players can find out. I hate forced twists. There should always be remembered that question, or if you had looked around here. And for me, if the campaign depends, the entire campaign depends on the players joining X organization, you should tell them up front, right? Either you just start with them you need to tell them up front, and get the buy-in for it. Now you don't have to give them all the details. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to give them all the details, but you do have to get the buy-in up front. Oh yeah. Half Hour Hermit said, "Don't try and impress your players with how clever a storyteller you are with plot twists," is my take on these sorts of things. If you can tell them what happens, if they do a thing, it won't destroy the story, I promise. Remember, you're in this together, you're creating the world together. They're not just mouthpieces. I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Limcast, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. We're hanging out. We're playing the game and also talking RPGs. Oh yeah, it would be more mini-series. I don't care whether they actually join. The campaign would end at the proposal to join. Oh, well, if nothing else, PCs get nibbles and bits from NPCs. Yeah, I think a lot of this has to do with building characters. And look, D&D habits tell you to approve any character. Say, hey, make a 5th level character, and then they make whatever character they want, and then you just have to deal with that character. I am not about that life, my friend. I mean, if I were running a D&D game where it doesn't really matter who your characters are, like nobody really cares who you're playing because it's just a module and like it's not actually about your characters at all, sure, make whatever character you want. But if I'm wanting to actually do something with characters who are invested, then I need to actually set up guidelines. If I'm wanting to do anything, and those guidelines are going to involve buy-in, like, because basically you have to have buy-in from the characters. Echo showerheads are a thing now. Was it? No, that was from the video. That was from the music video for Somebody's Watching Me. Give them enough detail incentive to join the organization. Money is always a good incentive if it's imaginary money. Yeah, I'm one of those masochists who builds if they say yes and if they say no paths. I just happen to have the right kind of candy that they want towards one and more fleshed out. You just have to watch out for if the party doesn't agree on what to do. If half the players, especially if the players are like, no, my character would never join the organization, and the other half are like, no, my character would, and you're like, okay, well, now we have a split party, so I cannot actually have a game where they either do or they don't because all of them but one wants to. So you have to be really careful about that, and just getting buy-in up front helps. M. Night Shyamalan got to make enough movies to prove that he wasn't a brilliant storyteller of twists. He was just a lucky idiot. I still want to run a cursed druid that's now a frost ice pixie. He pissed off the Winter Queen. And I will tell you about a twist that I had, a game with a twist. If you want to be secretive and hold on to an info secret, explain what kind of actions will be expected, like fighting a threat. You don't have to give details, but let them know what will be expected. Yes. So for example, I wanted to run a game where I wanted to run a Banestorm game, which is a GURP setting where it's a fantasy world, but the premise is that people from our Earth got sort of ported to this fantasy space through these Bane storms, and almost all this happened during the medieval time period, where like that's where the most people were ported over, and then in the Renaissance some more people ported over. So it's basically a medieval Renaissance fantasy world, but not on Earth, with people from Earth in that space. And what I wanted to do was run a campaign where they were picked up from today's, like they were just like a small group of people who were picked up from today's Earth and dropped off in this fantasy world. And so I wanted to do one of those, and I didn't want to spoil it. But here's the thing, you have to tell them something in order to get buy-in. And so what I told them was, I was like, look, I want to run a game where you all start off as people on a 3-hour boat tour, and then there's something bad is going to happen. You're going to be transported, like you're going to be shipwrecked in a whole different space. I didn't tell them that we're going to be like transported to a fantasy world. I just told them that they were going to be on a boat and they were going to be shipwrecked, and they should make characters who could survive in a kind of like a shipwreck situation, and that there were going to be surprises, and if they wanted to reserve some of their points for later, they could do that. So like if they wanted to build a character and spend like and keep 50 points in reserve, they could do that, because I let them know. I said, look, do you want to play in a game like this? And they said yes. And I said, okay, here's the setup. Here's what we're looking at. I'm not going to tell you what the big twist is, but I'm going to tell you that there is a twist, and that it's going to involve a shipwreck. And they were like, okay, fine. And so they were able to make characters that would still be appropriate for being ported into a fantasy world. Like they knew not to make a computer engineer, because that would not be as useful for them. So they were able to make characters that would be useful, that would allow them to have fun. They still got the surprise of what the twist was, but they were still prepared to play a character in that world. And one of the characters decided to withhold like 30 points and was able to use those 30 points to, it turns out they actually have like innate magical ability. So they were then able to sort of become a magic user in this space. Right. So like you give them, hey, Kai Hawkeye, you give them enough that they can actually give meaningful consent to the campaign. And if you do that, then you'll just have a much easier campaign than if you don't, because if you don't do that, it'll be really awkward. You know, that's what I'm saying. The crucible hangs from the hook. The thing that brings the characters into the adventure must be linked inescapably to the thing that keeps them there. If the hook is traveling to the big city, I have a character that wants to go to the big city in order to buy a bar and serve beer all day. If the game then twists to make the characters accept a mission from the king, I will refuse. But if the city's about to be destroyed in an undead horde, I have no alternative to fight. But yes, Sorlin, that's better, although some people might still not fight. And that's why I often say you have to make a character who's willing to fight, if that's going to be what happens, or who's invested in this space, because they might not be. Also, Hawkeye! Hey, Tothgear. Also, a significant shift in gameplay style is probably not a good twist in a game. Like building a political intrigue game with the intent to have it twist into a dungeon crawl halfway through. Doing that without informed players is not a good idea. Yeah, you just have to let... Otherwise, players will not be able to make the right kind of character, and it won't be great. Do you know what I mean? But like, you don't have to give them all the secrets. You can just let them know what the thing's going to be about. Yeah. Coldrake says, hey, I was sort of a computer idiot at one time, but due to my reading of fantasy sci-fi and military background, I can still almost start a fire or build a shelter, but no am I the professor making nuclear reactive coconuts. Right? And so like they could make the professor, like, you kind of like figure it out. Yeah, and I just think that it's only fair to the players. Basically, informed consent. You don't have to give them all the secrets, but you have to, like, for example, if I say, hey, this is going to be a horror game, and there are going to be some things like this going on, and they say yes, then I can do those things. But it's kind of not cool. If you ever saw Stygian Gate, I saw the first episode, which was amazing. PB Run, yes. I watched the first 2 episodes of Stygian Gate. It was similar to that, but yeah, I think those ideas will work. Yes. And you can do that, but you have to let them know. Like, you don't tell them that we're going to be playing a rated G, happy, fun My Little Pony game. They all agree to that. And then it turns out it's Watership Down and everybody's murdered. Like, a lot of them may not appreciate that, right? It's also part of, like, Lines and Veils. Like, you want to get good buy-in. I had that with my guards game. The one premise was that everyone had to be a city guard and want to be a city guard. Sure, you can do it for selfish reasons, but this is the main premise. If you go against it, it just won't work. two of them wanted to be Batman and do everything alone, and we had to have a conversation about that a few sessions in. Yeah, like and the thing is, if they don't agree to that game, then you run that premise, you run a different premise. But that's the thing. And I was in a game, I was not the GM, because if I were the GM, this would not have happened, where we had this problem. Political dungeon crawl, do it. I'm working on a campaign, this is Chromatic Chameleon, idea for a D&D game set 1,000 years before Waterdeep became Waterdeep, and send the players there. I want to surprise the old players while teaching a lot of the new players. I can't imagine that Trooper's preference tends towards GURPS games where science skill is allowed. Generally not, but if I could, I would run it as a one-shot. Krellin, I would run it as a one-shot, or like a four-shot. I'd run it as like a short shot. I would do that, but I wouldn't do it for a long campaign. Sometimes players also need to be reminded that it is a group effort. Yes. Yes. Well, the thing about Doki Doki Literature Club, Scabinak, and this is really interesting, is that there was a lot of controversy about Doki Doki Literature Club. And the controversy was that in the very beginning, Doki Doki Literature Club didn't have any spoiler warnings. It didn't have any trigger warnings. There were no trigger warnings for Doki Doki Literature Club. And people were really ticked off. They were like, this is not like, this game presents itself as this, and it gives you this other thing, including some pretty graphic scenes. And that's not fair, because players went into this not knowing at all what to expect, and actually being actively encouraged to expect something different. And then some people were traumatized by that. And so and also not only did they not give you trigger warnings, they also lied about the genre tag. So if you looked at it, like in like, they didn't say horror at all. They said like slice of life, or like, you know, otome. So people were expecting one thing, and then they were totally blindsided. And a lot of people were really upset by that. And I don't think it hurts much to say Doki Doki Literature Club is a horror game. You say that, and then people can decide if they want to play that or not. And I think it's just like, you don't give away the secrets. I mean, I went in to Doki Doki Literature Club being unspoiled. Like, I didn't know what the secrets were, but I knew that there was heavy stuff in it and that it was a horror game. And so I was like, okay. And to be fair, yeah, EV was triggered and basically hasn't been set back since. Yeah. And yeah. And of course, like, we did say what was going on. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that there was self-harm. I knew that there was depression, which meant that I could pretty much guess there was going to be a suicide in that game. And yeah, like and I have triggers. I have trigger warnings in my chat now that come up regularly because I want people to know of that sort of stuff. Actually, the Mad Mage would have just finished the dungeon, so they would have been one of the first parties down there. Oh yeah, I would never do that. I'd let them know it would be horror, any trigger stuff. I mean, more like, will they just straight up nope out? Yeah, and she missed the trigger warnings, and that is, yeah. Yeah. And that's dropped the stream at exactly the wrong time. Yeah. And that is really, that's really unfortunate. Because, yeah. And that's why I think that triggers have to be available, right? And right now, yeah. So right now, like, you can always pull up content as the content warning, and I do my best to try to figure out if there are things that people need to know while also keeping myself unspoiled. Yeah. Well, ODS, sometimes knowing a thing exists does rob it of its power. Sometimes it does. Because sometimes the twist is the point, the surprise is the point, and knowing it does, like, for me, I don't like being spoiled because my reaction to, I can only experience a thing unspoiled once. I can experience a thing spoiled multiple times. And for me, I really like to be able to compare my experience of a thing unspoiled with my experience of a thing spoiled. So I like to be able to do things twice because that actually often tells me really interesting things because I experience it very, very differently. So for me, I really do not want the spoilers, because it unless I'm not going to watch it. If I'm not going to watch it, I don't care. If I'm not going to experience it and I don't care about it, you can just spoil it all day long, because I'm not going to watch it. But those are different experiences, seeing it the first time versus the second time, and I want both of those experiences, so I tend to not want to be spoiled for details, because I also like puzzling through things. I like the puzzle. I like trying to be like, oh, what's going to happen, trying to figure it out. And if I already know, then I can't do that. So there's a certain kind of enjoyment that I have that comes from puzzling out things, and also comparing my first and the second experience I have of a thing, that if I get spoiled, that robs it from me. So I prefer not to have that. But I also think that spoilers should be available to anyone who needs them, because there are some people who need those spoilers for their health, and that's really important that those things are available. I want Trooper to have the fun he wants, but I also want to be able to easily find the spoilers for me, because I need to monitor triggers, and triggers are frequently odd. Yes, and I totally agree with you, Krellin. I think that there has to be a way for both of those things and I think that they can be, right? So I try to make sure those things are possible, right? And like, there's a website that I think has not been updated that's about, like, it's a website for trigger warnings for video games, and that's, I think, really great. I just don't think it's updated enough, which is a bummer. Right, but knowing it's a suspense or horror game, as you said, yeah, that's totally fine, and actually that's often good. I actually think that sometimes knowing that it's a horror game is good, right? Like, that's actually great, because if I know, if it's, for example, if it's a horror thing, let me tell you about Doki Doki Literature Club. If I did not know that it was a horror game and that there were twists in it, I probably would not have actually finished the game, because I found the first half of Doki Doki Literature Club super boring, because I actually don't like those kinds of otome games. I don't like those kinds of otome games. They're like not my fun times. I find them irritating. And if I did not know, if I had really believed that Doki Doki Literature Club was just your standard otome game the way it presented itself, I would not have finished it. And I would have never have gotten to the cool parts of it, because I would have been bored out of my mind, and I would have had no reason to continue playing, because it would have been just another one of those games with, like, I wouldn't have. So knowing that actually it did have this twist was what kept me playing the game. So, like, that was important to me. Yeah. In Paris, Trooper could have done a graphic, blow-by-blow verbal visual of the torture interrogation of Sylvie. He handled it much differently in a very good way. Yeah, I didn't think we needed, yeah. A site for trigger warnings is nice for common triggers, but not a lot of help if you trigger a specific song or smell. That's true. But even then, if it's something very specific, people just don't even, oftentimes even synopses won't necessarily have it. Like, I had a friend of mine who would go into a fugue state if she smelled one particular cologne, or if she saw, police officers in uniform. If she saw a police officer in uniform, she'd actually get auditory hallucinations, go into a fugue state, and basically have a breakdown if she saw any police officer in uniform. And films will often have police officers in uniform in the background, and they're not going to put that in the synopsis. So, like, they're just things that are like, that's a problem, you know? I don't know. Being one that prefers to avoid horror jump scares, I prefer to know if there are horror tones in a game I'm playing, and I feel like people should know that. Like, I think that's important. Common triggers are not uncommon, but probably not the majority of triggers, yeah. Torture is my big one, especially if a game glorifies it or robs a player of the chance to walk away. Yeah. And so, like, I wanted to make sure that when I did torture in this game, because it was there, or interrogation, that I did it carefully. I did it in a way where the player has autonomy. The character might be being tortured, but we don't need to torture the player, if you know what I mean. A calm start in a horror game can be really intense, but be kind of meh if not expecting horror, yeah. I really want to play a Doki Doki that's just what it appeared on the box. Oh, Krellin, if you want to play just some, like, male protagonist otome, I can give you lots of recommendations. I can, Krellin, if you want to play just some bog standard otome games with male protagonists, let me know. I can give you lots and lots of recommendations for them. I can tell you if you want that game, if you want that game, Prolin, oh, you want the poetry stuff. You want the poetry stuff. Because I can give you high school-based otome games all day long, but I will consult my sources to see if there are any poetry-based ones, and if there are, I'll let you know. I'm grateful to be alive here. I came from the lumber town in the forest. Oh, I was there. Really? It's still there? I've been worried for them, especially with monsters reaching the gate here. I thought, well, good that they're okay. So, they're all right? Yes. Basically, there's still lots of monsters there. I was with a friend who could fly, so we got out, but we couldn't bring anyone. Oh, I see. We've been trying to petition the king to send help, but it hasn't been fruitful. The hero led a band of us here from the town. It was very heroic. It's nice, you know, having a hero to come help you in a situation like that. I could get used to it. If only our king was so compassionate. Wait, is there a torture in GTA 5? I'm definitely capable of finding high school-based otomes. It's just easy to actually trip over them. Yeah, I should figure out. I will ask my message boards, because if there is, then I want you to have that. Yeah, poetry with a dark edge. Like, I want the girls to still have troubles, just not that dark. Yeah, I don't know why he's still a silhouette. I don't know. I don't know. There's a forced torture scene in GTA 5? Wait, what? Wait a minute. There's a forced torture scene in GTA 5 that you cannot avoid or walk away from? Are they forcing you to be the torturer or to be the tortured? Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Wait. Are they forcing you to be the torturer or the tortured in this game? You're the torturer. They're forcing you to torture another character and you can't walk away? Yeah, yeah, throw out some more no Brads on that one. Especially, like, is it graphic? No. Here's the thing. In games that are open world games that are all about player agency, to take away that agency in a moment like that is sketch. I mean, it's GTA. I'm not really gelling with Rockstar games to begin with. The characters in GTA have pre-established personalities, and yes, it's pretty graphic. Oh. I can't imagine it's done tastefully. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, like, I had this, the torture scene with Sylvie, and I was like, we can have this be off screen, and it doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Like, we can do it in ways that I think is effective, that gets the point across, that's interesting without, like, you know. No, taste is not a word Rockstar knows. That Sean and Dash are crazy. Take it from me, youngster, I was married to one. They learn all kinds of wacko magic over there. Don't trust them. Also, why am I a silhouette? I used to have a head full of hair, but my Chandash wife took it all away from me when she left. With her magic. That's the kind of wackos they are, youngster. They'll use spells for any old petty thing. You ask me, this war's gone on for too many years. We should have crushed those witches by now. It's an awful thing, war. But someone's got to fight the evil out there. Wasn't there a forced torture scene in that one game PH recommended? Which one? Okay, boomer. Which one? Also, when games try to tell you thing is bad and makes you do the bad thing, so you can say, "Look how bad you are." No, I don't like that. Jinx. Yeah, if you need a forced torture scene for their narrative character arc, there are ways to do it, but forcing you to see it is just awful. Oh, darn hair magic. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not against torture in a game or death in a game. Like, I think things can be done. Oh, yeah. I think, here's the thing about Spec Ops: The Line. I'm interested in it, but I would only be interested in it if it were free. Like, I don't think people should have to pay for that experience. The only way to redeem that would be like, I don't know, if ping pong sim game or something. Wait, not even that would help. Tortures in the Yakuza games, are they good? Is it done well? Is it done well? Because, well, I mean, I don't know if it's done well. I've not played them yet. Like, there was torture in Bloody Sunday, 1979, which was the Revolution 1979. Bloody Sunday, Revolution 1979, which was the about the Iranian Revolution. There was torture in that game, but I thought it was well done and not lurid. Which one? Oh, this still was a Mac bug they're working on. Oh. Ah. I see. Thank you, Chromatic. I wonder which one it was. Don't interrupt me right now. I'm thinking. My girlfriend said something very strange to me earlier, and I just can't figure out what she meant. Did I do something wrong? Is she going to dump me? I can't figure it out. I wish I could talk to my kin about this. I think she understands girls much better than I do. Oh, that seems like a you problem. Yakuza's not bad, it's just very violent. Where does Spaghetti Western Beatdown come on a scale of objectionable torture? That's a good question. I mean, if that's a Yakuza game, you are essentially signing off that you're part of a criminal culture. I do want to play it. It's a game I want to play. I've heard good things about it, and so I want to play it. I also hear it's a pretty good story, so like I'm down with that. Yeah, so like I kind of just think I don't have the name, but I won a Steam game from Trooper in a drawing. It was a martial arts mobster game, and you start the game helping beat up someone who's stiff the boss. That was probably Yakuza, yeah? Sci-fi game where there was an eco-terrorist group trying to release a virus to kill a planet. Yes. Yes, I remember. I remember that game. That was, yes. The gods are, no, the gods, maybe Sleeping Dogs. The gods are, oh, I don't, the gods, you know, the gods, I remember that one. I think I had to be tortured in that one. I think I was tortured in that one. I think in that one I had to resist being tortured, right? I think. The gods are angry. Thank you, Hawkeye. Thank you. Trooper might get lost in side stories, though. Yakuza's all about getting lost in the people's... Oh. Well, yeah. Did you see the hero? She was here earlier. She's so cool. I think she went to the lodge. So she's staying here. I want to meet her so bad. It was so scary when the Chandish monsters came, but then the hero just killed those bad guys. I can't believe she's real. And she's here in town, at the lodge. Do you think she can really shoot lightning? I heard she has a magical dash move too. And a cool sword. Yes, she's really here. The hero is not cool. You're not from around here, are you? I hate to say it, but your clothes are disgusting. When's the last time you washed them? Where on earth have you been wearing that?
My buddy Bo is military. It's a pretty raw deal. My dad has a lot of money, so I'm lucky. I don't have to enlist or anything. I hope Bo can get out of it somehow. It's kind of hard being young these days. You can make plans about what kind of job you want to have, but once you get to a certain age, you might just get put into the war. Then all those plans go out the window. Not really hopeful. I mean, I'm lucky, but...
Ooh. I think this is the lodge. I think the karaoke dancing minigames will... Oh. Karaoke. Karaoke. Is this the lodge? This is not the lodge. Hello. Are you interested in any potions? I made them all myself. The science behind it is very interesting. By the way, we're going to do a giveaway. Just make sure you talk and chat. Say something in the next 5 minutes, and then you will be eligible, entered for Mages of Mistralia, which is what we're going to give away, like in, 5 minutes. I swear I only turned into a silhouette recently. Yeah, and I'm also not always a silhouette. Sometimes I'm not a silhouette. Presents. The source of all my ingredients, I source all of my ingredients from nature, and I apply knowledge from chemistry to make new concoctions. My potions are high quality. They produce consistent results. You should buy some. That sounds fun. I don't have any money, though. Oh. I would like, talking and chat. Yeah. Solution potions. So the question is, where is the lodge? Where is the lodge? That's... Oh, going back in. Solution potions. So we're going to find the lodge wherever it might be. Which... We've talked to those people. Oh. Maybe he's really from the Doom Patrol, Negative Man. Welcome to my humble caravan. I hope you'll buy something. I have all kinds of plants and bugs I scavenged from the wilderness. Oh, I don't have any money. Oh, me neither. Nobody wants to do business with a panda. Are you really a panda? Gee, yes. I've traveled all over the world with my caravan, but people here don't trust a talking red panda. They say they love animals, but they don't love me. I think you're neat. Thank you kindly. Truthfully, times are tough now. I had to sell my horse here for money, but I yearn for the open road again. Have you ever lived in the wilderness? There's nothing better for me. The smell of trees, the sound of rain on the roof of my caravan. But to be honest, I've grown to love human food. I guess that's partly why I started needing money. Gee. Crossing the desert to get here was very rough. I was hot in all my fur, and I almost ran out of food. Gee. There's not much to scavenge in the desert, but I'd heard of a beautiful city on the other side. With my spirit of adventure, I couldn't say no. But now I'm trapped here. It's not easy, but no matter what, I always keep a smile on. Things will turn around. Is roo-roo-roo the authentic noise red pandas make? I don't even know. I somehow doubt it. Also, what sounds do they make? So here's a building. Looks like a lodge, but this is clearly not the lodge. I don't want to exit the city. Red pandas use sounds to communicate, but the sounds are generally very quiet. Sounds they use for general communications are squeals, twitters, and huff quacks that are used for general communication. To signal danger, they hiss or grunt. Here's a video that shows some of the sounds that red pandas can make. What does the fox say? So what I need to do is find the lodge. And I suspect finding the lodge is a little bit easier said than done. Oh, hey, there it is. Oh, Smithsonian website. Hey, it's the lodge. I found it. I found it, everybody. I found the lodge. So the hero is in silhouette now. We're gonna talk to the hero. Well, well, well. If it isn't my favorite bard and witch, I didn't know you two were in town. That's crap. We walked right by you earlier. Did you? Well, what's shaking? We want to meet the king. Of Rule? Yeah, guess he's laying pretty low these days. You'd have to be pretty important to meet him. Yeah, we get it. Why do you get to meet the king? Sheesh, all this attitude. For your information, I saved the city from a giant monster attack. And I need to learn the Overseer song from the king. Important saving the world business, you know? Wait, I thought that she didn't... thought she didn't want to learn the songs. I may have missed this since I joined late, but has Tripper started packing yet? No, I have not. I have 12 days. 12 days. That king knows the Overseer song? Wait, we need that too. You do? Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. How else would you keep breaking into the spirit world? Tell you what, I'll help you both out. Really? Sure. I'll bring you along to my meeting later. I could use a couple of flunkies. Flunkies? I mean, I don't have to bring you. No, we'll do it. Ugh, cool. But hey, listen. Since I'm doing you both such a huge favor, I could use one from you, too. How many bedrooms? Well, the place I'm currently in a 2-bedroom, but the second bedroom only has boxes in it. Boxes that I did not unpack from the last move. But I have to go through those boxes to see if there's anything I need. Like, I need to go through the boxes that I have to see if I need to take them with or put them into storage. And I also need to get people to help me move things. That's what I have to do. Nothing too hard. Ha! I need to get a potion of power from the local shop. Can you pick one up for me? It would be really a huge help. You know, if you wanted to tag along later. Thanks, you're the best. Hey, you didn't forget what I needed, did you? No, I remember. Sorry, you're good. So you're good at singing, right? Yeah. That's very nice. What other kinds of gear you got? Gear? Yeah, like weapons? Oh, I don't have that kind of stuff. What? You mean you just do singing? I'm a bard. Sheesh. I always assumed you were at least like an archer or something. Crazy that you even got this far. Hey, you didn't forget what I needed, did you? No, I remember. Thanks again. If I go back out there myself, I'll be mobbed with more fans. It's a blessing and a curse, you know? I'm not going to talk to the hero anymore. The hero's just going to ask me for stuff. And I don't want to do it. Do you have a storage thing reserved? I do not. I do not have storage. Coldrick, I can't ask anybody for pizza bribes. It's COVID. Like, we're in the middle of COVID. There's no one. I'm going to just have to pay some people. Oh, yeah, maybe if I had to revert to a previous version because of that bug at the factory, so maybe I could go back. Yeah, so I have to go and call Pods and Pedski or U-Haul and see if I can, like, get a pod out here and to show up. And then I've got to see if I can hire people to help me move my furniture into the pod so it can go into storage. And I already have a storage unit, but my storage unit is not that big, so it clearly won't hold my furniture. So I've got to figure out what stuff I can bring to my actual storage unit that I already have. Like what stuff I can bring there, what stuff will have to go into the pods. I have to order the pods. I have to go and see if I can get a U-Haul. I've got to see if I can hire people to help me move my furniture because I cannot move my dresser by myself. I have 2 dressers. I can't move them by myself, so I've got to find out whether or not I can hire someone to just move things from my apartment to the pods. I've got to also clean out my office so that whoever takes my place can move into my office. Yeah. The thing is, I'm not going to hire... I'm just going to, like, I want to basically get a rental U-Haul for myself. So I'm not going to hire movers to move me from point A to point B. I'm going to rent a U-Haul. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is see if I can just hire some people to move things from my apartment to the pod right outside of my apartment, and then the pod people will just pick it up and move it. And then I just need to hire like a U-Haul van or a Penske van. They might be. So I'm going to have to go and find out. I see the pod people, see Spider. I see that. Pay for a plane ticket for me to come to you and carry your furniture to your new place. Aw. Yeah, so I'm just going to... Tomorrow, I'm going to... So what I hear is I'm procrastinating until it's too late. I've done the U-Haul truck several times. Packing, moving, hauling, unloading, unpacking, yeah. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I can make the phone calls. And... yeah. Can't guarantee your first will be one pace upon delivery. No, it's just that there's a distance problem, and that's what it is. And we're in COVID. So, yeah. Jer, we're not workshopping the names of Trooper's autobiography right now. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Tonight I've got some paperwork I have to fill out, and I'm going to try to join USAA tonight after stream. And then I'm going to look at pods and U-Hauls tonight, and then I'll make phone calls tomorrow. And I'm going to just see what I can do. To be clear, this is not a dog pile on Trooper. This is Trooper, we're worried about you getting to where you need to go. I'm worried about it too. I'm worried about it as well. So yeah, I'm going to see after the stream tonight. Oh, by the way, I'm going to find out who the winner is. And then, hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping that it won't be so bad, because almost everything owned is still packed. I mean, if you saw my apartment, you would be perhaps a little distressed by what you see, because almost everything owned is still packed. Like, my game books are not packed, and my board games are not packed, and my gaming books are not packed, and my toiletries are not packed. My kitchen is mostly unpacked. And my clothes are unpacked mostly, not all of them, but most of them are unpacked. So basically, when I moved here, I only unpacked most of my clothes, my board games because I was running board games, and my RPGs because I am GMing on stream. But nothing else is unpacked. And my kitchen is unpacked, and my toiletries, but that's it. Nothing else is unpacked. And not all of my kitchen is unpacked. A lot of my kitchen is not unpacked. I still got like a box of toiletries that are not unpacked. Most of my stuff is just not unpacked. So, yeah. No, I don't have a lot of pantry freezer stuff to move, and really that stuff is like my freezer stuff just can't be moved because it's gonna go bad. So, what's gonna happen is I'm aiming to eat most of the food that will go bad and then toss the rest of it, and then just move my spices and the things that are like canned foods. That won't be too much. But yeah. How long have those been unpacked? How long have what? At least books are relatively easy to pack, mostly just not making each box too heavy. Yeah, not unpacked. Oh, a year. I moved from the old dorm to this dorm the middle of last year. So winter break of last year, and I moved here, so so it's been a year and a half, but it was a year and a half where I was like, I'm probably going to be moving in a year. So what is the point of really unpacking everything if I'm just going to move again? Yeah, it's been a year and a half. But like, why unpack things if you're just going to move again and have to repack everything? And as it turns out, I do have to move. And so I'm going to probably put most things into storage and just take the very, very minimum. Like, I'll take some of my gaming books, but not all of them. I probably will not take my CDs, even though I do need them for teaching, but I probably just won't. I probably won't take my CDs. I will take just I'll take the books that I need for my research. Is what I'm thinking. Like, the books that I need for my research, and just that. The books I need for my research and teaching, that's all I'll take in terms of academic stuff. I'll take just the gaming books that I will need for the things that I suspect that I'll be GMing in the next year and a half, maybe. And then I will take my kitchenware so I can cook. I will take my clothes that I need for teaching and working out. I will take my workout gear. And that's it. Toiletries. Like, and I'll probably take 1 or 2 games that I can play solo by myself, because I'll be in Ithaca by myself, so I don't think I'll be having anyone I'll be hanging out with. So like, I think of like 1 or 2 solo games. I'll take those, just like 2 maybe. I've got like all of my PS4 games are still packed up. Like, I actually don't have, like, when I get done with the Outer Worlds, I have a game that was gifted me, and I will play that. And I've got 1 or 2 PS4 games that I bought that are not packed out because I bought them since I moved. Like Call of Cthulhu, and I think another one, and I'll bring those 2 games with me. But yeah, I mean, I just basically won't hardly bring anything with me. And so I just have to sort of go through all the things that I have and figure out what things I won't be bringing, and figuring out whether or not they can go in my personal storage space or not would go in the pods. And I just have to figure that out. That's what I have to do. Don't tell you to look up what piles are. At least, yeah. I thought you were, I am tenured, but yes. If you like, you can store your RPG books on my bookshelf. Yeah! Cooking is kind of important. Yeah, so I lived in 5 places in 6 years. Moving often is awful. Yeah, next weekend it's super awful, because then you're not really motivated to unpack it all. Like, why unpack if I'm just going to move again? When I was a kid, our family moved every 6 to 9 months until high school, yeah. Do you have one of those humble bundles with a bazillion titles to download? I do. I do. But that won't help me with a PS4. But I think, you know, by the way, who's our winner? Who's our winner? Krellin. Oh. I see you, Krellin. Krellin, look, Nightbot has a similar relationship with you is what it is, right? See Spider Mix. Can I give you this game? Can I give it to you? 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 Can I? We avoid moving as much as possible. Usually I'm in a place for 5 years or so to go. Hopefully we'll be in this place longer. Yes. Okay, see Spider. I'm gonna give it to you. This is Mages of Mistralia, which is an indie action adventure game. And I'm sending you the link right now. This moment, at this very second, it is sent to you. And I'm glad that you have it. Nightbot only wants me games and genres I don't like. That's actually probably true. Because that is how Nightbot works. Nightbot is that way. The only reason I accept Soulcon is because of its robust character creator. Oh, speaking of Hawkeye, there was one time I moved 3 times in as many months. It was unpleasant. Yeah. And especially because, like, I mean, to be honest, I do and I don't have a lot of stuff. Like, I don't actually, like, for most of my life, I didn't really have furniture. Like, my furniture was mostly like a dresser and a bed and a desk. And now I have a dresser, a bed, and a desk, and a dining room table. Wait, what do I have? I have a dresser, a bed, a dining room table, a desk, and I now have a couch, I have a futon. So, like, look at all my furniture. And bookshelves. Of course I have bookshelves. Come on now. Let's be very, very clear. Of course I have bookshelves. Lots of bookshelves. All I do is have shelves. Like, that is my life, is having shelves. And other than that, like, I don't have I don't have a lot of clothes. I mean, I might have a lot of clothes, but it's because I still have clothes from when I was in high school that I can't wear anymore. I don't have a lot of clothes. I don't have a lot of... I could just have books, CDs, games, DVDs. That's what I have, right? And a lot of these are also work-related because that's what I do for a living. So I have a lot of musicals and things that I've taught. And so I have a lot of that kind of stuff. Most of that I can move myself. I just can't move my furniture myself. Yeah, so it's, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But I'm going to have to just move. Did you see Zillow is now putting LGBT protections on their listings, meaning whether the area state has laws? Oh, that's really cool. Oh. Hello? Yes, yes. Welcome to our humble inn. I do not know if you're aware, but the hero is staying with us. So please be on your best behavior. We would very much like to have her endorsement. Yes, yes. If the hero gives us a glowing review, then surely we'll be overrun with guests. Times have been hard with the war, you see. Rule does not take many visitors these days. Also, if you're bringing a kin in, please make sure to clean up after them. We've gotten many complaints of untidy rooms. You know what? Why I left my furniture when I moved, parents have it. I haven't been really around and paying attention. Has a place been acquired? A place has been acquired. I have a place. I just need to now organize the actual move part. That's the thing that I have to do. I have to get a pod. I have to get a storage unit. I have to figure out how to find people to help me move the furniture. This is a thing I have to figure out what to do, and I don't know what to do about that. I don't know. On another topic, I see your Mighty Nine t-shirt. I take it you got the news. Critical Roles will be back next Thursday. Yes, and it's very convenient that I have just moved back to this time slot just in time. Yes. Yes, which means I have to decide whether I want to continue to watch or not. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna host it, and we'll just find out. We'll find out. Hello, it's you again. We're here for the potion of power. Wow, you didn't strike me as such high rollers. It will cost quite a few farquads. What? Farquads? As in currency? Money? Oh, we don't have any of that. Oh, well, in that case, you can't have it. Oh. Speaking of CR, time to go play mod there. See you later. Oh, I will see you, Hawkeye. Oh, wait, Hawkeye. By the way, Hawkeye and I have been chatting in a Twitter chat about Witcher stuff. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Wow. That's so nice to know. If I'm awake, I can find the chat. Way too busy when I get over myself. Yeah. So yeah, Verum Lumen, if you don't know, I always host, I've been hosting Critical Role here because I find their chat just way too overwhelming and sometimes just mean. And it's just nice to hang out with nice people, chatting about the show together. So if you ever want to hang out with us, I usually then host Critical Role after this stream. So of course not tonight, but next Thursday will be the 2nd. And then I will stream at 6. And then after we're done, I'll go grab some food and then I'll bring up the host and then we can just hang out and chat together. Nice people yet to lets me hang out. Krellin, I see you. All I can say is now I want to play a centaur now. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. I was never active in chat there because, well, yeah, half hour sermon, exactly. And it's too much, right? Chat can be super mean about women is what happens. And I just was like, no, I can't. Nope. I don't feel like hearing them talk lots of smack about Mersha Ray right now. I just can't. I don't want to do it. Yeah. Yes, I have enough anxiety as it is, and my husband humors me when I randomly tell him things, but it might be nice for him to have, if I have someone else to talk about. Yeah, we just like to talk random things, and you can also multitask. It's very nice. I enjoy the chat as much more than the game sometimes. Oh yeah, and we just talk about things. It's really nice. So hang out with us. Yeah, and Hawkeye, I'm gonna tell you, if you're a mod over there, most respect to you. Most respect. I think that is, like, I can't even imagine what kind of hard job that would be, Hawkeye. I mean, I can't. Like, I can't even imagine how difficult that is. Like, it blows my mind. Like, just to think about how much work that is to be a mod for that show. I can't even imagine it. Like, you have all my respect. All my respect. You must have the most massive, amazing mod skills. I don't even know. I don't know if the mods have worked out, but yeah, the CR chat used to be super critical of Marisha in ways that were like, ugh, not cool. After the utter desolation in my world right now, I really don't want to hear smack being talked about anyone. Yeah, so we hang out in our chat, and it's much nicer. The mods there are worth their weight in gold. They are. I've had a chance to sit with Rachel and Eddie during an episode and look over the shoulder. It's wild. Oh, I can't even imagine. Like, I can't even imagine. Mods are the true unsung heroes, and that is a true fact. It took me a while to warm up to Marisha's player character in Campaign 1. Then I started checking out the player. She busts her backside to make CR work. My hat is off to her efforts, yeah. I do try to moderate my smack about Sam. Maybe it's been long enough. I mean, you know, that's what that is. That's what that is. Can't we do something for you to give it to us? Maybe for some of my other potions, but the potion of power is very luxurious. You would need a treasure chest of Farquads to afford it. Forget about it. Me and my grandma used to make potions. It's not that hard. Screw you and your hoity-toity store. We'll just do it ourselves for way cheaper. Okay. Let's get out of here, Lala. Good luck with your potion brewing. A potion of power can be very tricky to create. Hope your friend knows what she's doing. If she does, actually, I would love to talk to her. There aren't many potion enthusiasts here. Potions are classically thought of as a magical thing, but people in Rule don't tend to trust magic much. Your friend isn't a magic user, is she? She might run into trouble around here. I saw the hero was in town. That's very exciting for a potion brewer like me. That's someone who could actually afford a potion of power. No offense. Except that she clearly can't. Chat for a state was really fun. I love chats. Sam will always be Sam, at least until his flask is larger than Travis. I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels No, actually, I find Sam to be really problematic. Estate chat was half oddball, half history toss-outs, and half, oh my god, what's going to happen next? Yeah, I think, like, Sam does things that are offensive. And Sam has got that, like, edgelord comedy where, like, isn't this so edgy? And oftentimes I think it's not edgy, I think it's offensive. Like, I did not like the gross Irish stereotype he was doing. Like, he just does these things and I was like, no, like, this is not good. And I wish he would not do those things. And he's the one thing that really spoils my enjoyment of CR, and I just try to hope that he's not going to do something really offensive on his shilling. Krellin says, the best thing I see about Sam is he makes me less uncomfortable than Ryan somebody did, and that's the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. Yes. 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 You know, Crit Twitch, you ask about that, and I think what I would tell you is there are people who knee-jerk reaction hate the GM's girlfriend. Like, or partner of the GM, well, usually it's the GM's girlfriend in this case. And they don't like the GM's girlfriend, and they bring a lot of hate for the GM's girlfriend, and Marisha was the GM's girlfriend. And, like, honestly, Matt is super harsh on her character, harsher than he is to the other characters, and I think it's because he's overcompensating for the GM's girlfriend, now wife thing. But, you know, yeah. Yeah. Marisha is legitimately amazing. She's probably my favorite person on the show. She's amazing. Yeah, I thought that stood for a bit like a jealousy thing. Yeah, it's yeah, it's gross. And also, Laura Bailey's married, so that puts her in a different category. Yeah. And I just didn't like it. Like, it was really... Ooh, Thai food. Ooh, Thai food. Thai food. Oh, Thai food. Now I want bulgogi. Yeah, and it was just... And also, she was playing a character that was... And this is another thing. Her character was good aligned and talked about it. And there were a lot of people who wanted to murder Hobo and didn't like the fact that her character was like, maybe we shouldn't murder this little old lady. And they didn't like that. So like, there's like a bunch going on there. It was not cool. I didn't like it. Yeah, Ty sounds really good right now. Yeah, Marisha's married too. Maybe that's calmed things. Maybe it has. Maybe it has. Maybe it has, Krellin. I'd gush all over Laura, but I know Travis would snap me in half. See, I'd never had problems with Orion as his character. Butter chicken. Ooh. Which I think apart from her being with Matt, a lot of it is that she's not looking for approval. Yep. She's not really trying to fit the cute nerd stereotype. Yep. Laura's everyone's darling because everyone has the hots for her. She's still wonderful, don't get me wrong. Plus, a lot felt like characterably they hated Keyleth, so they hated Marisha. And also the other woman on the show, is just was not on the show for a lot. There was a time I literally thought Travis was about to do that to Orion, like the one time he said something about Vex instead of Keyleth. Ashley Johnson. Yes, Ashley, thank you. I was thinking Ashley Birch, and I was like, no, that's not right. What's her name? Ashley. And I kept thinking Ashley. I was like, no, that's Birch. Anyway, yes, Ashley. And Ashley Johnson was just basically missing quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was missing quite a lot, so I think that she got a pass quite often because of the ways in which she was just missing a lot. So it was easier. Plus, she was a little bit of a chaos monkey, and then people like that. Are the classes that you're moving to another state to teach going to be held in person? Skexy, you are asking, are the classes that I'm moving to a whole nother state to teach going to be held in person? The answer is, I don't know, but probably not. They will probably be remote. Yep, they'll probably be remote. Also, Ashley gets a bit of a shield for being, like, legitimately famous. That's also true. Yeah. Yep, they're... Although, and I'm also supposed to be taking part in a seminar, which will probably also be remote. But, you know, here's the thing. Teaching via video. I'm not too, like, moving is a bummer, but I'm not too bothered because for this one thing, if I stayed here, one, I wouldn't have to move, which would be awesome, but if I stayed here, they would get me. Them. Capital T. Them. They would get me. They would know that I'm still here, and they'd be like, hey, we know that you're technically away, but since you're still on campus, because I live on campus, couldn't you come to this meeting? Couldn't you do this one thing? I mean, you're still here, so can't you do the thing? And so for me moving, even though it's a big pain in the butt, part of it's about making sure that they can't catch me for service. Like, I need to not be doing all of that stuff. I need to be writing and all of that, you know? Dealing with figuring that out for my university as well, as I spent last week with my parents and they're figuring that out for yeah. I need time away from campus, and so I'm moving. I love that the current plan at the university I live near is that there'll be classes in person until Thanksgiving, then send everyone home. What? I don't even, what? Verum Lumen says, apparently even our home game husband has had issues with other players, saw me being his wife. I didn't notice because husband is great, but yeah, and that's just, it's also sexism, is what it is, you know what I mean? And so, and that's the thing about sexism, is that people can like some women, but not other women. Like there are certain women who fit certain archetypes, so they like them, but then some women don't fit that archetype, they don't, and then they don't like them. So like there's also still, there's just also still lots of sexism, right? Yeah, we just need you for like 5 minutes, promise. Yeah, many colleges are doing a shorter schedule, turkey day being, I don't even know. No one hates Taliesin though. No one does. Your youngest graduated in May. We don't have to worry about campus arrangements anymore. Yeah. And right now, the thing is, what if there's like, and my campus, my home campus, not the one I'm moving to, but the one I'm at right now, is wanting to do hybrid stuff where like some people are in person, some people are not in person. Because the problem with doing everything in person is that international students can't get visas to come back. So international students can't be in person in time for the semester to start. So they're thinking like, can we do a hybrid thing? But I think a hybrid thing's gonna be terrible. Yeah, I think, yeah. Screw that guy. And screw the hero. She knows we can't afford fancy potions. She's trying to embarrass us. But I wasn't kidding. We can make it ourselves. It took me a minute to remember, but I definitely know all the ingredients for that one. Probably. Those are all the ingredients we need. Just flowers and plants. See? Not that hard. She probably assumed we would never be able to get it, and that's why she agreed to help us at all. But we can beat her at her own game. Then she'll have to admit she was lying. But since that's her pride on the line, she'll probably actually take us to the king instead. I'm not sure I'm following. Doesn't matter, just get those ingredients. I'm actually really excited to show her up like this. Oh, well, okay. We're gonna look for potion ingredients. I don't know where we'll find them. Oh, there's one. How do I... Oh, hey. I need... People, I forgot... what I have to do with this. Double jump? Things. Let's see. There's like a thing with a butterfly, and I forgot it. I never thought about sexism that way, but that's really interesting. I never thought about like, oh yeah, no, there's a whole thing about sexism that like it's depending on the type of woman you are. Some women, some certain types of women are accepted in, and then others are not. I guess the idea here is that people will go home for Thanksgiving and then bring their germs back to town. That helps. The fact that he's not traditionally handsome helps those that would be threatened by his charisma. Yeah. Our university isn't officially deciding until the end of July. So much for finding off-campus housing in 3 weeks before the semester. Yeah, it's really bad. I'm really distressed by this. I don't see a lot of hate for Travis either, but broad-shouldered tall dudes rarely see any. Yeah, they just don't hate the dudes as much is what it is. Like, they don't critique the dudes as much. Like, I mean, Sam is sometimes a complete mess about forgetting everything and doing complete ridiculous things, and people don't give him hate at all. So, like, I mean, Sam does things that, like, messes up the group, and people are like, oh, Sam. This is a pivotal time for changing the education system. While I don't know if going full broadband is the answer, since a major swath of people still don't have internet, broadband, any internet options. That tends to favor the middle class. Yeah, but also the thing is, try singing the note that's the leaf's color. Nothing is really exactly its color. And this butterfly is there. Talonless I are probably 100 years different in mindsets and experiences. This is a cast member I'd like to meet the most after Laura, because Skyrim, yeah. Yeah. Well, I give hate to Sam, but some people like Sam, so I try not to do too much of it, yeah. I just read a whole thread of someone trying to help CR with their issues, and to be honest, it soured the whole thing for me. So, how am I supposed to... The butterflies in Xianshan are so nice. If you sing, they follow you around. But they get bored fast if you stop. If you can bring 5 to this tree, I think something special would happen. Okay. So I need to get 5 butterflies. Oh. I see. Okay. So the thing is that there's a whole thing about like types. the cool girl type, for example, is a type, and a lot of dudes will like the cool girl, and the cool girl usually doesn't like other women, right? Like that's what makes them cool, is that they kind of hate other women. And so there are a number of, how many butterflies do I have right now? So there are like a number of guys who don't like women, who will like women who don't like women. And so like if the woman is like trying really hard to be that cool girl in that particular, it's a new trope. Like the cool girl is a whole new trope. And there is like, and for those women, they will get rewards from the patriarchy by being really horrible to other women. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, so I need one more butterfly. Yeah, so like there's a whole, and I realize eventually hating other women is stupid, and I'm not nearly that cool. Yeah, so, and it's, but this is how patriarchy works. Like patriarchy works by pitting women against each other, right? You pit women against each other, and here we go. Okay, I think I got it. Oh. Yes. Yes. I got it. Nice. Before I met Taliesin, I want to find some ancient first edition arcane tome to present at his feet. It said, yeah, I realized eventually hitting, yeah, power trips are so weird. Women also grow up in this sexist society. Yep, it would be foolish to assume that we're not affected by it and that it wouldn't be ingrained to us just as much. Yeah. Hey, Scraticus, how are you? Hey, Scraticus! I'm giving you a hug. A virtual, non-physical hug, I'm giving you one. I hated the color pink growing up because pink was what girls were wearing and I didn't want to be like other girls. Yeah. And the thing is, that's the thing. Hey, 54 aqua snakes. This is the thing, right? That we live in a patriarchy, we live in a society that's sexist. And that means that all of us grow up with sexism, including women and also non-binary people. Like it's in the same way that all of us grow up with racism, including people of color. And there's like a reason why, I mean, a lot of dark-skinned people use skin bleach on their own skin, which can kill them, right? To be lighter, because they've internalized the idea that dark skin is not good looking and that being lighter skinned is better. And that's racism. You know what I mean? That's racism. But when you live in a society wherein dark-skinned, especially dark-skinned women are never thought of as good looking, you internalize that when people tell you that growing up your entire life, that you're ugly because you have dark skin, that you internalize that. If people tell you that women are the worst and that women's like things that women like are bad and to be made fun of, and that things that teenage girls like are bad and to be made fun of, you know, it's really hard not to internalize that, even if you are a girl. And so there are a lot of girls who are like, oh no, I hate women because, you know, we have an entire society telling us that. Yeah, it's like, that is a real hard thing to unlearn self-hatred, right? It is hard to unlearn self-hatred, and it is not easy to do that. But that's what the work is for. Right? That's what the work is for. But then also the other thing is that our system also rewards people who propagate the system, right? So if you are full of self-hatred and you do things that propagate that self-hatred, the system will often reward you. Yeah, it can lead to skin cancer, Hawkeye. Yep, and it can also ruin your reproductive system. I mean, it's really bad. Like it's really bad. It's no good. And yet I see thousands of idiots going to the beach and tanning salons to get dark, being rich enough to not work out but spend time on the beach. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not like them, that sort of thing. I'm different. Oh, totally. I'm different. It runs out. When I was in the army, I saw it all the time. Like, 'cause I was in the army. Those of you who know me know that I was in the army. And in the army, there was... Hold on. There was a lot of that. Because a lot of the guys in the army hated women and thought that women were bad and that women didn't deserve to be in the army and that women couldn't do the job, that women were... Okay, nope, this way. Right, there are like a lot of dudes in the army who were really, really hostile and sexist, and they had very bad attitudes. And the thing is that if you wanted these guys to respect you, what you needed to do was say horrible things about women and make yourself least like a woman as possible, right? Not be like, you have to go out drinking really heavy, you had to talk smack about women, say that things that women traditionally liked were terrible and bad. And if you did that enough... Is that 5? 1, 2... 1, 2... I don't think it's 5. And if you did that enough, then they would respect you. Because then they wouldn't think of you as a woman. They would think of you as not really a woman. But if they respected you, they treated you better. They let you hang out with them. And there were more of them than there were of you. And they wouldn't sexually harass you as much, right? So like all of a sudden, if you spend a lot of time putting down other women, you didn't get sexually harassed. Like there's a whole system in place to ensure that women were not friends of other women. And it's really bad. But that's how the patriarchy gets women to hate themselves and not support each other, right? And this also meant that, like, if a woman said, oh, this guy's sexually harassing me, right? Says like, oh, this guy's sexually harassing me. The woman who's been taught that in order to get male approval and get promoted, be treated well, is that you have to be the enemy of other women, then that woman would not support that woman who says that she was sexually harassed. That one would say, like, get over it. Why don't you just shut up? Get a thick skin. Why are you being so ridiculous? And so that system also pits women against each other when those women are being abused by men. And that's like super convenient for that system, right? Try Reading Girls Against Girls by Bonnie Burton. Oh yeah. Queen Bees and Wannabes is another one that's a good one. I read a really good article about Queen Bee syndrome. As long as you're able to physically and mentally able to do the job, nothing else matters. You'd think that, right? And it should be that way. But then it often isn't that way. And then they do weird things. Nothing else should matter. Nothing else should matter. Nothing else should matter. But too often it does. I worked with someone that did as well or better than slacker men. Right, of course. Right? Because, to quote Depeche Mode, people are people. So why should it be that you and I should get along so awfully? In an ideal world, it would work that way. But also there become these weird things where they decide that in order to physically do the job, you need to do X, Y, and Z, but you actually don't need to do that. Like, well, if you want to be if you want to be infantry, you need to be able to bench press like 480 pounds. And I was like, but actually you really, really don't need to bench press 480 pounds. Like the Viet Cong were not able to bench press 480 pounds and they were, they did their stuff. So yeah, there's like, by the way, I'm just wandering around and I'm hoping to find ingredients and I don't know if I will. Like, I don't know if the ingredients are in the town or if they're not in the town, but oh, sea spider. People are strange when you're a stranger. Oh, Frontier Inn. I don't know what's like there. What is this place? Hey, don't Don't get us lost in the wrong kingdom. Sorry. Easier to pop out. Yeah, if you're skinny, yeah, right? And that's the thing that, yeah, and I think that this is, and then you mix in that section with the gatekeeping, right? That's the thing that, like, you don't, like, I know, like, when I was in the army, when I started in the army, it was a little bit different, but then, like, there were all these dudes I knew in the army who, like, thought that to be a really good soldier, you need to be a bodybuilder, and they would work out and be bodybuilders, but, like, then they actually couldn't do push-ups very well because they never stretched, so they couldn't lock out their arms, and then they started failing their push-up tests. Like, being a bodybuilder doesn't necessarily make you a better soldier. Like, it doesn't take a lot of strength to pull the trigger on an M16. Like, and it doesn't really have any kick. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing. Like, it's really, right? But that becomes this sort of marker of machismo, but that has nothing to do with being a good soldier at all. Like, at all. So, you know, but then they use that as a way to gatekeep by saying, oh, well, you'd have to be able strong enough to do the job, but actually that's not the strength you need. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then, yeah, it's like, I will tell you, being in the army was a trip and a half. It was a trip and a half. That was quite the experience. There was a lot going on there, I will say. But then also, my undergraduate was a women's college, so that was also another experience. That was also a trip and a half as an experience. There's a lot of discussion these days about how all the current work at home jobs prove that corporations could have done this before and how that was denied for a long time for people with accessibility issues. Yes. I think it's more about endurance and strength. Yeah, and you know, women have a lot of endurance physiologically. Yeah. Hawkeye says, machismo can sometimes get in the way of doing the job right in the military. And this is true. I knew so many guys in the army that, because there are things that are called two-person lifts. You need two people to lift them. And they wouldn't because they wanted to prove they didn't need help. And then they threw their back out. It's like I knew so many guys that end up having injuries and being outside of, and not being able to work because they insisted on doing things they should not be doing. This is the Sky Temple. The Nexus Point. People built a whole temple around it. It's the place that matters, not really the temple. What's special about the place? Never really figured that out either. All the Nexus Points seem to be near natural formations, but they're just places where there's a lot of spirit stuff. Spirit stuff is also kind of everywhere and invisible. Because our world and spirit world are linked, but at these places it's stronger, enough that you can move between them, basically. My grandpa could probably explain it better. Anyway, it's useless for us now. Overseer song, blah blah. Fair. Let's face it, they have to put up with most of us. When I went at 25, Caldrake, that's so interesting. Against some 17, 18-year-olds, I was the old man. Caldrake, what's so fascinating about that is that I found that I was in way better shape at 25 than I was at 18. And 25, Caldrake, being the old man at 25, so interesting. Yeah. Scraticus, I remember this. I used to do the GCSE Phys Ed, which essentially means I know a bunch of convenient lies about the human body, but I remember people thinking you need to be a bodybuilder, but I studied Bruce Lee and other leaner athletes and based my work out of them. Yeah, there's just a lot of not true things. You know, like there's just a lot of not true things. Just look at the people who do Top Ranger, nobody is buff. Yeah, Women have a lot of endurance. Reminds me of G.I. Jane, you need people to carry a wounded soldier kind of thing. But here's the thing about that roll damage, that's also not true. The women tend to across the board have better pain tolerance, that's also true. I wish I had Bruce Lee's physique, word. Trust me, I work in pain management, yeah. There was a brief 3 years where I was pretty much there, 4 sessions as far as a week of jutsu, yeah. And now, no silhouette. Yeah, I was much better shape at 25 than at 18. At 18, I was like, my body was still growing. One thing I would say, yeah, right, they're all BS. And, you know, I was thinking, though, about they need to carry, here's the thing, you need to be able to carry a wounded soldier. There are 2-person carries for wounded soldiers. And also, there were dudes in the army that were smaller than I am. And as with the time, I mean, I was kind of buff. It's true. But there were dudes that were smaller than me. And then we had dudes in the army that were huge, massive bodybuilders that were like gigantic. And that small dude couldn't carry that gigantic guy. And even if he could, he probably shouldn't have, right? He probably should have done an alternative carry with someone else. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just saying that, that's, yeah. I mean, oh, thank you, Jer. I watch a ton of pro wrestling. God, the women are so much tougher. I regularly see them do bumps that would put guys out for months, yeah. And they perpetuate a lot of it because I had to go through it. So I'm gonna make sure you go through it too, yeah. And it's like, it's stupid. Like, it's just stupid stuff that it's not smart. There's a reason why a lot of military people have blown out knees and blown out backs. Like, they get out of the military and they're wrecked. Their knees are wrecked and their back is wrecked and they're not healthy because they were doing dumb things. Because people told them they had to do dumb things and they should have not have done those dumb things. Do you know what I mean? Like, they should have taken better care of their bodies. But we often don't. We often tell men, especially, that if you want to prove that you're a man, you do things that are hurtful and harmful to yourself. And that's bad. Like, it's bad. Don't do it. It's no good. Look at firefighters. Most are not in good shape. Using standard carrying, you can carry most bodies pretty easily. It's true. Look at fires. Like, wounded soldier with or without kit. 2-person carries the best if you have another person. Plus, I mean, you can make a draggable gurney or whatever. Those are options. They are. This is also true. Yeah, ortho is one of the basic collector base site. Yeah, and it's like, and I get frustrated because those soldiers should not have been put in a situation where they felt like they needed to compromise their health for stupid things. Because they're not even in war. They're not, like, you know what I mean? They're just like in training. It's no good. So I feel like I need to collect these butterflies. I don't know if I do need to collect these butterflies, but I am. It just, you know, I wonder if I need to go to Lumbertown. As X6668, we were trained to one-man carry. And the thing is, like, Hey, what do you think that is? Like, I've got 4 butterflies. I don't think I can take them with me. I'm going to Flavortown. Oops. Oops. Look, I know I need to get a flower and a mushroom and a frog. I will work out something at some point in time. I don't even know. Ooh. 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 Yeah, so anyway, it's one of those things where and I did all the stupid things when I was in the army because I had to prove that I was, like, worthwhile. It was dumb, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was stupid. I carried some dude, fireman carried, at one point, sorry, I'm just thinking about, like, I was in PLDC, which is a primary leadership development course, and you have to pass that course if you want to become a sergeant. And I was high speed, so, like, I got put up for that course. I went in there, and it was like the entire unit. There was, like, I don't know, 300 people there, and there were maybe 5 or 6 women, 7 or 8 maybe total. There are very few women in that course out of the 300, and this was before I transitioned. And I remember we were in this field exercise, and they wanted to, like, I don't know, like, and I was the only person who was being read as a woman in my platoon, and they wanted to, I don't know what kind of stupid stuff they were doing. So they had me carry everything. We were in the field, and I had the radio, I had my pack, I had the M60 machine gun, and then I had, like, another pack on top of that. I was like, they had me carrying everything, more than any person should be carrying. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not. So I'm there, like, and I'm on the M60 machine gun, so I'm pulling and also the tripod and all the ammo and all that stuff and all my stuff. And so like I had my M16 and the M60 and all the ammo and the radio and an extra pack. And yeah, you gotta show that the girl's weak, right? So I had all that stuff, and because I was in the M60, I was the last person in sort of in the march. And I remember we were and I didn't complain. I remember we were like sort of marching, and we had to jump across this riverbank. It was not a super wide little. It was like a little stream. It wasn't super wide, and we had to jump across it. And we all had to land on the same spot so that we could obscure how many people were in our unit. Hey, Courier 3. Yeah, no, they had me carry everything, and so we all had to land at the same spot, right, to sort of obscure how many people there were. And I'm going to tell you about how much weight I was carrying. Yeah, regular pack and the radio, but yeah, doubles. Yeah. So I was carrying so much weight but note, I was not complaining about. When I leaped across the river and landed on the riverbank, my foot went into the riverbank up to my knee. Like I was so weighed down with gear that when I jumped across that river, I just sank into that riverbank, stream bank. And I was from I went right past my knee, and I could not get out. Like I was like, and the riverbank was like upward, right? So like I had no leverage. I couldn't get out of the riverbank. I was also the last person in line in our unit, and you weren't allowed to yell out because that would be, bad for security. And my drill sergeant was just like, don't say anything, just wait to see how long it takes for them to notice that you're not there anymore. So I was just waiting in the riverbank, waiting for them to notice that their machine gunner and radio person, all of that was missing. Took them a while. And when they finally came back to find me, they were like, why don't you get out? And I could not get out. It took two of the biggest guys in my unit, like the big, huge, beefy dudes who are like 6 foot, to pull me out of that riverbank. Because I was so far embedded in that riverbank because they had me carrying so much stuff. It took two of them to pull me out of that riverbank. And I remember thinking, Coldrake, I weighed 135 at the time. At that point in time, when I was at that point in basic training, I probably weighed about 135, maybe 140. Probably still, it's probably about 135, 140 at that time. Yeah. And it took two of them to pull me out. And I was like maybe 135, and I was carrying like I was carrying well over my own body weight in gear. And I went in at 125, and I gained 10 pounds in basic training of muscle mass. Like I gained muscle mass in basic training, like, whoa, it was insane. I'm going to do that right now. So the point being that was stupid, right? It was stupid of them to weigh me down with all that stuff. And they were just doing it to sort of like, I don't know, prove that a woman couldn't carry stuff. But nobody should have been carrying that much stuff. That was just dumb. They also made me fireman carry some, like, one of the big, huge, tall dudes who got me out of the riverbank. It was just dumb. You know what I mean? It was just so stupid. And there was just no need to do it. But it's this kind of weird thing. And I was not in a space where I could say no. Like, I did not feel comfortable saying this is a stupid thing to do. I felt like I had to prove myself. And then the problem is, because I did it, if other women couldn't do it, they treated those women really poorly. It was really a bad scene. I didn't like it. Put critical resources and radio in the back. It was bad, right? So the fact that I was able to do it meant that they then punished other women for it. And it was bad. Like, I didn't like any of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It was just like, it was like gross. And like, but that's how sexism works. Sexism works in these ways that are insidious, right? And they're not, like, sexism is not always like, oh, hey, baby, nice butt. Like, it's not always that. Like, sometimes it's all these other things where it's like, well, that movie can't be good because women like it. Or if you want to be taken seriously, you need to do all these things that are not good things to do. Like, it's insidious. It's insidious. Why would you put the radio with the MG? Never put a resource into one place. No, you should never do that. But they did it because they wanted to haze me, right? That's what it was. Yeah. Trust me, roll damage. There are times when common sense is so far away from a procedure. There was the right way, the wrong way, and the military way. Or the irrational hatred of anything teenage girls like. Yeah. The irrational hatred of anything that teenage girls like is just sexism. Like, that's just it. There's a blue flower in your backyard, and me and my friend need it for a potion. Can we use it?
No.
Nice. Well, you should never like anything teachers like, period.
I said no.
Yeah, there's so much toxic gatekeeping. And I had this guy when I worked at Blockbuster who came in and hit on us girls all the time. Our manager didn't do anything because he was a good customer. Oh, that's terrible. Young Justice is way more popular than we expected with teenage girls, but we were marketing it to teenage boys, so we better cancel it. Krellin, exactly. That's exactly what happened, and that was awful, right? Ugh. I may have aged myself. I feel like you're maybe, in good company here, Verum Lumen. A little bit of good company is all I'm saying. Yeah, no, it was just really bad. I didn't like it. I was very upset with it. And there's like, it's how all these things sort of work themselves out in these insidious, terrible ways. And I think about, I just think about the ways in which we just denigrate women's taste wholesale. And that if you want to be considered good and valuable, then you don't like things that women like, even if you are a woman. You fit right in, Verum Lumen. A good bit of us here are right about the same. There's a bunch of Gen X here. This is like a, Gen X friendly sort of place.
I said no.
I know, but we need it to save the world. It's a long story. Please help us.
Insane, kids. If it means that much to you, you can have it. If you do some yard work for me.
We can do that. Right, Miriam? Right. Lead the way, miss.
Oh. All these leaves. Move them out of my yard. Out that way. Or out that way.
I'm doing this. I don't know if this is going to help, but I'm doing it. Yeah, I need to 65 this August. Coldrake, you're so awesome. 15 September, 48 in a couple weeks. 43 in the chat, baby. But y'all even accept this because of course we do. Of course we do. You just turned 35. Congratulations. 30s are good. 30s are a good decade. 30s are a good decade. I had to explain to a young cohort what a Blockbuster was. What a day that was. 55 Aqua Snakes. And it is weird that women spend more money than men on the whole, so you should be happy that girls are watching. Yes. Hey, everybody. Love it. I love it. Courier 3, 23, 25 in 3 days. 25 is a good age. You will like your 30s, Courier 3. I'm just going to tell you. I think you'll like them. Hey. Have you ever stopped and noticed that the hero goes around fighting monsters with a cool sword, and we get stuck doing yard work? If she were here, she'd just take the dumb flower. Why aren't we? In case you forgot, the world is about to end. It doesn't matter if this old lady has leaves in her yard. But I mean, whatever. You do you. No, I'm not going to steal the flower. I'm going to blow all the way over here. Just like, just do the thing over there. I hope that'll be enough. I'm going to do my best to get all the leaves away. Yo, early 20s are already better than my teen. Oh, It just gets better with age is all I'm gonna say. Do you think I have to get it over this thing? Or no? What do you think? Like, maybe? Like, just, you know. Like, I just wonder how much of a... How far do we have to go? That's all. Chat welcomes all ages. Just park your walkers at the door. Yes. I grew up in a transphobic house. Every year I spend out of that is... Yes, but also... Clearly Lala's named Lala because he's Lala the lawful Bart. No, that's true. Not all ages Twitch. TOS forbids under 13s. Yes, and teens under 18 without a guardian present. This is a friendly moderator PSA. This is true. Oh, that reminded me actually of a thing. There was a discussion on Twitter about how unfair it is that our hobby is excluding young people because like the young people can't, and it was basically there was a young person who wanted to be in a Twitch streamed game that was Monster Hearts, and the game was like, no, this is 18 over only. And yeah, I just don't like, playing first off, I think they're like consent issues with streaming a minor, and also I don't think they can really do the Twitch thing exactly, and also they can play with other minors. Yeah, and I just would never play Monster Hearts with a minor. I would just never do it. Like, I don't, never, ever. I just wouldn't do it. That's just not ever. You could not pay me. I will admit I had a problem with 40. Didn't have a good time that year, but otherwise it's all been fine. Yeah. And I just like, and also I don't even think it. Age of consent of 16 in the majority of Western world, including the most U.S. states. 18 is a thing because of California. The other players don't want to have to censor themselves or take responsibility for the corruption of a minor. Yeah, there's such a minefield. Minors on camera, can't ask for them for personal info without guardian consent, etc., etc., etc. Like, there's a lot of reasons why I just feel like that's a big old no-go. But here's the thing. People who are, I don't think that people under 18 are locked out of our hobby. You can play with other people who are under 18. People who are under 18 go and they play at the friendly game store. When I was, like, I played with fellow middle schoolers and high schools. Like, I don't think that our hobby excludes people under 18. Maybe if you are, maybe you're gonna be locked out of playing on Twitch, but, you know, you've done such a lovely job with my yard. Right, they might be locked out of streamed RPGs. Yes. I baked these cookies for you. Wow. See, Miriam? We did the right thing, and we got cookies. No, I think I know what I want to eat. Wow, cool. But what we need is the flour. Of course, I'm happy to give that as well. Yay, everybody's happy. This could have been so much easier. Yeah, libraries becoming safe spot for teen gamers. I believe there's also labor laws or something. I know YouTube recently made it a lot clearer to establish if your show is meant for kids and if kids are present. Oh yeah, there's like the whole new law about protecting children from child predators, which is like, that's why, like, yeah, like, it's just not a thing. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I started playing much earlier than 18, hell, earlier than 15, but I was with friends. Yeah, I started playing when I was 11. Right? Yeah, I started playing when I was about 11 is when I started playing, and like with other people who are my age. It's fine. When if you plays with other minors, video chats with them through Discord or whatever, they're definitely not locked out. Is Jair the mob we need, but don't deserve? When we were 14, D&D books were readily burned by insane parents. Yep. We don't need your mom singing the censors on the rest of us. Yeah, I realize that right now that libraries and schools aren't really an option due to COVID. Yeah. On Tabletop, the devil was when on Tabletop, Tabletop was the devil when I was that young. Me too. But I'm glad I picked up gaming as an adult. But my mom was a big old hippie, so it was fine. Yeah, the Predator thing was what I meant about children on cam. Yeah, that's a big yikes. So, yeah, so I just, like, no. So I got a close look at this flower, and it's not exactly the kind we need, but it's pretty close, so it's probably fine. Well, up to you to get the rest of them. Good luck. I'll wait by the lodge where the hero's at. So there are 2 more things we need, and I just feel like one of them has got to be out in the world. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's right there. Oh, right there. Meanwhile, when I was a kid, there was a latch and a key. That's an evil GM setting up the bard. I know, right? Maybe it'd be okay if they were streamed with their parent sitting beside them. Yeah, like if their parent were sitting beside them, that would be different. I still wouldn't do Monster Hearts, right? I would not play Monster Hearts with a minor at all. If I were going to play a game with a minor, that's true. How can you tell it's their guardian? That's true. It's true. Oh, on a personal note, when you tell people your husband is your favorite dungeon master when asked about your hobbies, perhaps you might want to be more specific. Or not. Your choice. Yes. Hi, about your yellow mushroom? I need it for a potion. Can I have it? I wish I could just give it away. But I need money badly. I had to sell my horse and now I'm trapped in the city. Ah, I know. But is there maybe something I could do in exchange for it? Gee. Well, business has been very slow, so if there were a way you could help me with promotion, for example, by performing in front of my caravan? Oh, I can do that. Gee. You'll have to write a theme song for my shop. I have some guidelines for success with this. I may be a panda after all, but I understand humans very well. They like patterns and repetition. Whatever song you write, you're going to have to sing it over and over, without changing anything. So make it interesting, but not too interesting. Oh. Kids can't agree to terms of service. It's pretty much as simple as that. Yep, for Losanto. We don't king shame this chap, Verum. That's illegal. Yeah, that's the thing. And so I think that, the answer is no. I'm not going to have minors on a stream that I'm streaming. But they can still play. I'm the oldest in my last group. My GM was about a decade younger. That and a couple of 20-somethings and a bunch of teens. I know, more Red Panda sense. Let's see, we're gonna do that's it. Right? Roo, is this a song you want? Yes. Yes. Gee, I think it's great. Now we just need to sing it over and over again, and the humans will come flocking. I'm just singing this song. I'll sing it all day long. I wonder how long I have to sing this. Oh. So, so it looks like I'm doing well. I want to read chat right now, but I'm afraid if I... People are interested. How long is this gonna go on? Oh, we're done. Gee! Boots and cats and boots and cats. I've seen a really wholesome streamer that occasionally plays Minecraft with his young nephew and his friends. Streamers on cam, but kids are just on voice chat. That seems like an acceptable compromise. And here I thought Texans were weird for fireworks on Christmas and New Year's. Oh. What has science wrought?
My house.
Come on in my house, come on. Come on in my house, come on. Come on in my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on in my house, I'm gonna give you everything. It's a raid! Welcome in. I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Thank you for the follow, Mistress Verse, and also Corpse Handler, and Tentacle Made Studios. Welcome in. How are you? Amy says, what? Ce n'est pas un raid. Welcome in. This is not a raid. How are you doing? What were you streaming? Amy, what were you streaming before you got here? And how did your stream go? Hey everybody, welcome in. Welcome in. Amy, how'd your stream go? And also thank you for the stream, Shader Aki and PFW Scott. Also, I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. We were doing Poetry Book Club, Far Sector Book Club, and then King's Quest 5. Ooh, do you like it, Enthusi Amy? It's like a super nerdy art joke. You know what I mean? It's all it's a little bit of Magritte. Like, look, we're just too nerdy here to help it. I can't help it. I can't. Oh, so tell me about the book club. How did that go? It like super nerdy. Like it's like, oh, it's like the best art joke though, right? Because it's right? But also, who doesn't want a Magritte pipe as an emote? That was Jer who gave us that pipe and who made the pipe and who's done all of our emotes, and it's so good. Including the most amazing emote of all, this one, because sometimes you just gotta say no, Brad. No, Brad. So how was the book club? How was it going? What kind of poetry were you doing? I want, give me more context. Tell me more things. Because I do appreciate that. Also, yes. We also have the person leaping off and diving, because I like to play video games where I fall off of things all the time. And there is nothing I can do about that at all. Gamer of Culture King's Quest. Squirrel, that's me. Oh, wait, somebody, wait a minute. Let me, will you, I don't fall, I jump. Rissa, will you allow PFW Scott to post a link if you do not mind? That would be lovely. I think it's permit PFW Scott. Ooh, thank you. Poetry Foundation. Oh, Poems of Hope and Resilience. Ooh. Let me copy that link. Copy link location. And let me put that up so that I can read that when I get off of stream. Ooh. Oh, that sounds so great. How cool. That's very, very cool. You've done the first 9 poems? Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool. I'm looking forward to reading them. I love poetry. And we don't really, I feel like poetry's a little bit passe, but it's so great. Yes, the 7th and 9th poems for that link for today. And then issue 5 of Far Sector, a sci-fi comic by N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. Ooh, N.K. Jemisin. Nice. Nice. Hey, sometimes I need things in terms of a break. Full disclosure, one of those poems is Lift Every Voice, and I relied heavily on references to your lecture for that discussion, so big thank you. Oh, yay! This is what I want to, like, share the love. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. James Weldon Johnson, so good. Oh, yay! Oh, nice. Also, how is King's Quest? Also, hey everybody, how are you doing? We're currently playing Wandersong, and oh yeah, it's which version of the song, Scraticus? Which one? I am moving. July 7th is my move-in date where I can move into the new place. I'm moving from one state to the next. I think your Lift Every Voice is the Watt Stacks by Kim Weston. That's my thought. That's what I think. Beyonce. Oh, okay. That's brilliant though. That's brilliant. Delightful, and I felt my death in spectacular fashion. So we need that emote for future. Yes. Yeah, I'm moving to New York for 1 year, upstate New York, and I'm moving in 12 days. So I have to pack and get a U-Haul, a Penske truck, and get a pods, and I've got to move, and that's gonna be a lot. And I hope the internet will be really good because I plan on streaming until I move, set up all the streams, and then moving of books. Oh, meaning of night. I have a little hand truck though. I have a little dolly, so that should be helpful. I wish the Wednesday Club was still on at these Amy, so you guys could have Trooper on to talk music with Tal. Oh, I would totally do that. That would be fun. No, I'm not teaching at Tufts this coming year. So this next year I'm teaching over at Cornell. Just one class though, but I'm mostly doing writing, and then I'll be back at Tufts again the year after. So I mean, I'm not going away forever. Yes, we talked about moving a lot. We have. Moving is so not exciting. Oh, speaking of, I'm excited about the next round of RPGs, of figuring out what I'm going to play when I sort of move in. Because I've basically, all of my RPGs have just ended this last week, and so now I get to move, clean slate, then start up new RPGs and see what I'm going to do. Is Dennett still at Tufts? Ooh, Last Credit, that's a good question. Dan Dennett. You know, everybody talks about Dennett still. So I want to say yes, but Dennett might have...
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Meaning of night. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. How are you, Hiccuping Boots? Yeah, little Vivian Sinclair, I figure...
Somebody's watching me.
Oh, Wyvern Tark, thank you so much for the follow. I think a little bit of Vivian Sinclair, but I've got to feel like I might be on some other shows, you know what I mean? Like I might do some stuff. I want to maybe run something on another channel, GM something on another channel, like spread the love, hanging out, and I really want to do something. I'm doing well. I want to, look, seriously, I want to be on a show in German. This is after I move. It is my goal sometime in the next academic year to find a stream, Call of Cthulhu, in German, and be on that show, one shot, guest spot, where, oh good, he's still at Tufts. This is what I want, because we have all these RPG shows, right? And they're all in English, and there's a whole world out there where people are playing RPGs not in English. And I wanna go over there and like see some of the community that is not English language centric, because how cool would that be? I really want to do that. Also, I want to do one more lecture. I want to do one more music lecture after the first, hopefully. Yeah, you must share if you do. I need to brush up my terrible German. Me too. Yes, I have it on. I got it on PDF because Pegasus is the company that does the translations for Call of Cthulhu, and they have a web store. So I downloaded the rules, and so I have it, and I feel like I'm gonna read that, maybe also during my move. Trooper wants to go where the Germans are. Wants to hear their umlauts. Yes. Yeah, I do, Hiccuping Boots. I want to experience some, because I imagine there's just like slightly. Have I been to the P.O. box yet? I have the masks. I got them. I'm so excited. Umlaut lover. Yes. I watch a German play BattleTech Computer, and he has talked about his D&D game, though it's English with a little German. Yeah, and I just feel like, trying to break up English hegemony a little bit, do my part. I was on the other day and there was some Portuguese RPG that had 30k viewers. I wish I knew what was happening. Oh my gosh, Last Socratic. Playing in a second language sounds super hard. I think it would be, but I want to challenge myself. Also, seriously, if you go through, oh, that was the Tune of Limits. Oh, part of your world. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you for being here. So I was thinking about, what was it? The juicy specialized vocab. That's what I got to learn. I got to learn specialized vocab. How do they do it? But I think it'll be good for me to learn these things, and I'm really excited about it. And so there's the D&D category and there's the tabletop RPGs category, and everybody says you've got to put your games under the Dungeons and Dragons category because nobody does the tabletop RPG category, even if your game is not Dungeons and Dragons. I looked. The tabletop RPG category actually it does very well, but you know what it does really well with? People not streaming in English. Like some of the top streams, the top 10 streams and under tabletop RPGs, you've got Spanish, Russian, Portuguese. Like there is like a number of streams out there that are streaming. They're just not streaming in English, and so I want to, check it out. One day I'd love to do an RPG stream in Esperanto, but of course I'd have to get better at Esperanto. Yes. So I'm going to finish this conversation and then I'm going to go. Look at all these customers who came. All thanks to your singing. I have no problem giving you this. Yay! I'm going to be rich now. So, everyone, we just have to get the frog, and we're going to get that next stream. Hey everybody. Hi. I want to thank you all for being here. You watch a lot of European time. Oh, see, I need to do that. I need to do it. Yeah, that was the category the Portuguese game was in. It had more views than a 5e category, which blew my mind. Yeah, so I want to, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes if you're an native English speaker, you never push yourself, to be in other cultural spaces. And I want to do that. And I know that it'll be hard because my German is rusty. And so I'm going to have to watch some streams for a bit, read the books and get practice and really try to get myself there. And then I'm going to ask. And I don't know if somebody will do it, but I'm going to ask. Oh, thank you, Roll Damage. Estate was fun. And who knows, we might have a Christmas special. That's all I'm saying. We might have a Christmas special. So, everyone, if you where you can find me next, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be at Tales from the Grim in a Cypher Systems cyberpunk game, GM'd by Little White Rabbit, Alice, who's amazing. And then at noon, you can find me here on this channel, noon Eastern, where I'll be playing the Outer Worlds and probably talking about RPGs, because that will be my life. Oh, Scrat. Oh, I do speak German. Scrat, we can speak German all the time together. I'm pretty sure Rusty German is a subgenre of techno. Techno. It is. Half-Hours Hermit. I'm happy to run a practice game off-stream if you want. Not well-versed in German streaming communities, though. Oh, hey. I am always happy to do an off-stream practice run. I love practice runs. Practice runs always make me happy. Always make me happy. I will tell you, practice runs are things that make me happy. Because half-arsed. Well, I'll pick you up on that when I move. So that's where you'll find me next. I've got a Discord. I will do look to say that I also found you through a stay and that also that I'm German and look forward to seeing you RP in German. Oh, Dankeschön. Ich will einfach nur sagen, dass es bin schon ein paar Jahre, ich war in Deutschland so in den 90er, so 92 bis 97 oder sowas. So, es ist schon eine Zeit her, aber ich habe nicht alles vergessen und ich kann schon ein bisschen sprechen und so, das kann ich schon machen. Ich hoffe, dass ich irgendwie so ein Call of Cthulhu oder sowas, irgendwelche RP-Spiel finden kann und dann, weil erstens, ich mag Deutsch, es ist eine coole Sprache und ich habe meine Zeit in Deutschland ganz geliebt und es war eine coole Zeit und ja, irgendwie, ich denke, irgendwie, das muss ich machen. Weißt du, was ich meine? So, ich meine, das muss ich machen irgendwie. Ich einfach muss. Ich denke, dass es irgendwie wichtig ist. Es ist irgendwie wichtig für mich, das zu machen. Ja, sure. I wanted to say that I was just saying that I lived in Germany from like 92 to 97, so it's been a while since I lived in Germany. It's been a while, and so my German's a little rusty, but I can still speak it. But I just think it's really important. It's something I have to do. Like, I like the German language. I loved my time in Germany. And I just feel like it's something that I have to do. Yes. Yes. Oh, hey, Rissa. See, you've got your German on. Ja, es muss. I understand a little. My German has rusted out the bottom. Yeah. Was muss, das muss. Was muss, das muss. Indeed. It just has to happen. And I don't know, if I could do it, I would feel... It would make me happy in a really deep way if I could do a one-shot in German. Like, it would make me really happy. Even if my German's a little Bavarian, it would still make me happy. So I have a Discord. Anybody who wants to hang out in our Discord, you're certainly welcome. We are, we're very friendly, and we also, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way. Anyway, so we have a Discord. You can follow, you can subscribe if you like. You can follow me on Twitter at Academic Foxhole. YouTube has the archive of all of the shows we've got here, including all the RPGs I'm in, and that's at Trooper SJP. I also have a Patreon, which is at Academic Foxhole, and that Patreon is solely to go and help fund the RPGs that I run on my channel, because when I run the big story games on my channel, I pay the cast and I pay for overlays and I pay for music, and I want to make sure everyone gets like just compensation. So if you want to do that and help out, you can. And I will be starting making videos, RPG sort of, and maybe also other sort of videos coming up after the move, July 1st, so July 7th. So, I've got about 2 weeks, and they'll be spooling it back up again. So it is time for food for me. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Servus. Grüß Gott. Grüezi miteinander. Take care of yourselves, everyone. So that was just me getting like my full-on...
Somebody's watching me.
Ooh, I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-da-pa-pow. Thank you for the follow. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. And I will see you, tomorrow or Saturday or maybe next Thursday. Take care of yourselves. Let's do a raid. Let's do a raid. It's not much less than 2 weeks. It's just less than 2 weeks. That's all. Oh, hey, do you know who's up right now? Bonsai Baby. And Bonsai Baby's the most awesome. Let's go and raid Bonsai and tell her hello. And this, by the way, is our raid command if you want to use it. This is not a pipe, this is not a raid command. Thank you for being here. And we're gonna go and raid Bonsai, who was also in a state of affairs, and who is also pretty amazing, and who I approve of in all ways. So, we're gonna raid her, and I wanna thank you all for being here, and I will catch you all on the flip side. And Scraticus, we should talk German together. Actually, anybody who wants to talk German with me, practice our German. That is it. Take care, everybody. Much love, and I will catch you on the flip side, and give Bonsai some love. All right, see you all soon, everybody.